Also, should we throw a huge disclaimer on this and just say these are our opinions?
You know,
Just in case.
that's a great point. Of
Our
course,
reviews, what I say is factual and shall be forever. Thank you.
good evening, everybody, and welcome to Dicely D&D. And I'm sure many of you who, follow this hobby are aware of the news that has come out. The big unveiling of a lot of D&D projects over the next year, as well as the playtest rule set for ONE D&D, which is what many people were speculating was going to be D&D 6th edition or 5.5, but now we've got this. How about I hop on over here where I'm actually joined by the Fantastic Fiend and Anthony from Play Dicely. Hello, guys.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
And we're going to comb through this thing, see if the rules are any good, like what our thoughts on this are. Of course, anybody who's tuning in the chat, let us know your thoughts on everything.
Yo, real quick, before we jump into the rules, what are your thoughts on the name ONE D&D?
You know what? That's
L.
a fantastic question, Ryan. Sorry, Anthony, what'd you say?
I said L.
L.
L?
Yeah, not a fan. It reminds me of video game console naming conventions where they're like, clearly this was a executive person naming this, and
Yeah.
oh, it's all together, right? It's got to be everything together.
Oh.
So it's ONE D&D.
You mean
Okay.
this is businessman's creativity coming in
Yeah,
coming in clutch.
See, I had a
quotes around creativity.
I had a completely different take, but I agree it's an L. I got the weird feeling it was like, is this some weird? Is it becoming a cult? Is this what's happening? It's like, we have 3.5, we had 4th, we have 5th. We just need to come together and be one D&D for the greater good. It's like, what the fuck, dude?
Logan's got a good point in that D&D 5e was originally going to be D&D Next, so this might just be a placeholder. Right, so let's hop into this thing here. So it's a new game. They've revamped so much, but it's based on the player's handbook that they released in 2014. There are some rules changes, and they note those changes with asterisks within the document, which they then later define in a glossary toward the end of the document. A lot of stuff is revolving around character creation in this document. Actually, I think the big majority of this document is character creation.
Yeah, that's right. This is just talking about starting off. This doesn't even mention classes either. This is pure backstory stuff, I guess. Also, should we throw a huge disclaimer on this and just say these are our opinions?
You know, that's
in case.
That's a great point. Of
Our
course,
reviews, what I say is factual and shall be forever. Thank you.
You've got it here, folks. Everything Anthony and I say is our opinions, but everything that Ryan says is indeed factual. He has every connection within Wizards of the Coast, and don't sue us. That's not true.
Yeah.
His dad is, in fact, the Wizard of the Coast.
My dad works at Nintendo. Yeah, and therefore,
My dad is Nintendo.
My dad works at Xbox.
looking at this down here, this is playtest material, so these are not final rules. These are rules for people out there to test out, to play in their games, to give feedback on, and this will eventually evolve into a published rule set, as many of you who've seen Unearthed Arcana from Wizards of the Coast before, it's how they refine everything, but then sometimes they get their feedback and they don't actually listen.
Yeah, well,
What?
that's
Who said
their
that?
prerogative. It is literally their game, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk about determining your origin, which was a huge topic when Tasha's Cauldron of Everything came out.
I liked those rules in Tasha's. I don't know why that needed to change, but sure.
Yeah, they worked, but I do kind of like what they have tweaked in that. There is a fruit fly suddenly flying around me. You are not a guest on this stream.
Buzz. My opinions are real too.
For character creation, they're saying, you have your race, you have a background, and you have a language. You have a creature type, which really doesn't do anything for the game. You have a size, which there are many of the races can now be medium or small. You have your speeds, your lifespans, special traits, and that's what's all contained within the race. The ability score bonus is not a part of the race anymore, which personally I love this.
Yeah, it's a good change.
I also love this.
Talking about background, this is where ability scores have gone, which I think this just makes so much sense, you know? Because
What do
you
you
train
do with
for?
your life?
To be good at things, you have to do them. So
yeah,
Yeah.
having a background in which you did a thing that made you better at something makes sense, instead of being born and like you're predisposed to do something, which doesn't make sense.
Yes. I was born as a dwarf, therefore I build. Yes.
Even
back-
still, though, and we'll get into this later, some of the special traits of certain races still have that bioessentialism in them. So
yeah,
Let's go.
yeah.
You didn't learn a thing, wizards.
I still do love the ancestries and culture rules by
yeah, shout out to Gwendolyn Marshall.
yeah, those rules are still so good. So backgrounds, they give the ability scores, they give 2 skill proficiencies, a tool proficiency, character learns a language. They also get a first level feat with their background.
I like that.
It
It's gonna
definitely
be overpowered,
raises the
but-
yeah, it definitely raises like the power level.
It seems what's happening with these feats is that they're going to have, you know, different power levels, so it seems, you know, like you have the first level healer's feat. Is there going to be a 4th level healer's feat that adds some extra benefits but still keeps that same like function?
I'd be down.
Yeah, because they were toying with like prerequisite feats in what book was it? Was it Strixhaven?
Not sure.
They were toying with that.
Yeah, I'm not entirely
It was
sure
like
either.
you had to take an early feat to be able to take another feat later. So it was like, okay, interesting.
I mean, I also like
Um,
the idea of a feat that levels up as you leveled up.
Yeah,
You know, if you take a feat at level 1 that can level up with you, I think that's pretty cool.
yeah,
But I don't want to
It's
have to waste an
essentially-
ASI slot to have to
yeah,
level it up.
exactly. It's essentially like a mini class feature.
It allows more customization for characters. You know, you might be a fighter, but then depending on your background, you have it's almost in a way like an additional subclass at first level.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
And also that means that feats are no longer a variant rule, they are part of the core game. Because I know some people who have opted out of allowing feats in their game, and that won't be the case at this point, unless of course, you know, DMs make their own rules.
I was about to say I've always had feats in my game just because
Yeah.
I think they're fun and they give characters another option outside of haha funny number go up.
Yeah. I think it's because 5e is so limited on choices. I like to keep feats in so you can actually have a little bit more customization with your build.
Right, could you imagine just playing a fighter and not having the option to choose feats?
I would be offended.
Yeah.
I play so
just
many
get
dang
numbers.
fighters. I like fighters, man.
Imagine your stats though.
Oh, all of my stats, 20s.
And then, of course, you get equipment with your background. A lot of this is still the same. I think the big changes are the ability score and the feat. I think another great thing about adding those 2 backgrounds, this really puts the importance on the background. You know, it's not something you can do later. It's, all right, let's flesh out your character now because there are immediate core benefits to this.
And like thinking on this system from someone who runs a lot of like one-shot games as a professional DM, this kind of slows down character creation in a way because you can't just have someone pick race, class, plug in the numbers.
Mhm.
Here's your features and abilities, go. So now they are forced to think more about like who their character is, which I love because I always try to bring in some character development even into a one-shot. But if you know you're just trying to do a pickup and play game, maybe for like Adventurers League or at like a local game shop, this might slow things down slightly.
Yeah, but I feel like it at least gets the minimum requirement of thinking about some sort of character so you can role play as opposed to just playing the game.
I am stat block A, you are stat block B.
But of course,
Hello.
you are correct in saying that this will probably, you know, add some time to character creation. So these would be the races that would be introduced in this new version of this player's manual or player's handbook. Human, Ardling, Dragonborn, Dwarf, Elf, Gnome, Halfling, Orc, and Tiefling. Let's go through each of these guys. So starting with humans, I mean, we're not going to go into the lore text of these things, though. If you're interested in the lore, you're interested in the flavor, give it a read. We're just here to talk about the rules and mechanics. Humans are one of the races that you can either be medium or small. Choose when you select the race, which we've already been doing this, you know? It's like they've just made it official. 30 feet speed, lifespan, we know the human age range. Their special traits are resourceful. You gain inspiration whenever you finish a long rest. And there are some asterisks around this because there are some changes to rules about inspiration. Skillful, you gain proficiency in one skill of your choice. And versatile, you gain the skilled feat or one other first level feat of your choice. This is very reminiscent of the variant human becoming the norm.
Yep.
Variant human becoming the norm, but also getting 4 skill proficiencies from being a human is pretty wild.
Yeah, it feels a little, once again, I'm going to probably say this word a lot, bioessential, that they're just giving these things. Like, why do you get good at one thing just because you're a human? Why do you get inspiration for just being a human? It's like they didn't know where they wanted to put these abilities, so they just threw them like on the human, basically. Like, this feels like it was the last one that they looked at.
The only thing I can really think about as to why they might have done it is like, you know, in fantasy worlds, like there's so many races that are long lived, and they're often look at humans and be like, well, they get so much done in their short time in this world, you know. And it's just like,
True.
I guess it's that sort of aspect, but still, not every human does that. Like,
Yeah.
you know, there are humans, you know, who get a lot of shit done in their lives for sure, and those are the epic heroes that we tell our stories about. But there's also a human who's just like, you know what, I'm gonna start a farm.
I do also want to point out, well, 2 things with this. Firstly, when you consider what is a human in a fantasy world, what would you give them? Like, why would you want to play them?
Well,
and
as the
this
resident
is
human main,
the answer is because it's something you relate to. But if you're not a role player, you know, you look at the mechanics and you go, what benefit do I get from being something I already am in real life? Well, here are some things. Do they make sense for humans? Not exactly, but it's what we got. So I'm not going to fault them on that. The second thing is, I wouldn't exactly say that these are, like, the special traits might not be relevant to every single member of that race, you know? Because we choose the stat block, and we are going to create an extraordinary person of that ancestry.
We're creating an epic hero, so.
So we just happen to be one of these humans who is skilled, who is overachieving, I guess. And so these
real type A's out here.
Yeah. And maybe I'm making up excuses, but that's kind of how I perceive it.
I agree with that.
No, it's good.
I think after I said that bit about epic heroes versus some dude who just wants to vibe and have a farm, I was like, wait, I'm not building a farmer.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it was like, yeah, I'm good. That's fine.
I mean,
From
even
a mechanical standpoint, this makes sense. But I think my brain is still stuck in, why doesn't this make sense in real life? You know? But it's game, so...
His game is only fantasy.
His game.
It's only fantasy game. Not even real life.
Next up, we've got the Ardlings, which are our counter to the Tiefling.
Did they just say, bye-bye, Aasimar? You're not cool anymore?
I don't know.
They're like
maybe because
animal
Aasimar
people.
were just like human, but shiny humans.
Yeah. I'm kind of sad about that if that's the case.
Yeah, I liked Aasimar.
They had
I
some
liked
really cool
Awesome R.
features.
That's pretty awesome. Yeah, so Ardlings apparently have they're like animal celestial people.
Yeah, they're like what's the lion man from Magic the Gathering?
Leonin.
Like the character though. He's
Oh,
Ajani?
Ajani?
Yeah, Ajani.
Sorry, I'm a bit of a nerd.
You?
Wait.
No.
No, not at all.
This seems to be D&D's way of going, we've got a lot of humanoid animals. Let's just make it one race, so you can choose whatever the hell head you want. And we don't have to make it all kinds of stat blocks or all kinds of racial features or whatever.
That does make sense considering their goal to like pare everything down into more cohesion.
Yeah, and so these are races that have heritages that go back to certain upper planes, so like the Beastlands, Mount Celestia, Elysium, and they have a head of an animal, maybe fur, feathers, or maybe they've got skin. So this is it kind of reminds me of like Egyptian gods in a way.
Though I feel like if I played one of these, I would have to make their entire body like anthropomorphic because it would be weirder if they were just animal head and regular body.
Oh, that's 100% what I'd be doing. I'd be going full Anubis in this bitch.
Yeah,
I'd have like a wolf's head and just a jacked Chad body.
I was thinking the opposite. Like,
yeah, you want
they
like
have to
full
have an animal body.
Yeah.
Aarakocra or Tabaxi style.
Okay, so Anthony's not a fan of the transition from fur to skin. We got it.
Look, you either go all skin or all fur. You can't have both.
Bro, tell that to
Unless-
Anubis, all right?
I don't want to talk to Anubis right now.
I don't want to
Anubis
talk
is
to...
so...
With the Ardlings, there are 3 variations. There are Exalted, which seem to be chaotic good, Heavenly, which are more lawful good, and Idyllic, which are more neutral good. And I don't mean this as in character alignment. This is their heritage tracing back to one of the upper planes, because those have alignments. You know, like the Beastlands is chaotic good, Celestia is lawful good, and Elysium, I believe Elysium is neutral good.
The cosmic wheel.
Let's go through their features. So, humanoid, of course, they too have the ability to be either medium or small, speed of 30 feet, they live for 200 years, and as an Ardling, you have these special traits: angelic flight, sprout wings with a bonus action. So this is reminiscent of, you know, the Asamar ability to sprout wings, but what happens if you're already like a bird-like humanoid? I guess you don't have those wings all the time anymore.
That's what I was saying, bro.
Yeah.
You got the Chad human body with eagle head.
Nope.
Well, that's okay, because if you're
Take
also
that.
a cat, you can also have wings.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just going to read a brief portion of an upper description, if that's okay, Denny.
Oh, sure.
Depending on the animal, the Ardling might also have soft fur, downy feathers, or supple bare skin. No.
Chad
Stop.
body.
Yep.
Chris Perkins,
Also-
why have you done this?
Chris Perkins was just like, supple.
Supple skin. Oh.
Supple.
And it seems a lot of the races in this go around have a lot of that, you know, they get a spell at first level, third level, and fifth level based on their race. And depending on which the 3 varieties you've chosen, you'll get a certain selection of spells. And you can see those at the top of the screen right now. And you can see animal suggestions as well. You'll get those spells
Just in
when you
case
reach...
people don't know what animals are. Just to hop back up to the flight thing, I guess this is a good way for them to balance Aarakocras by just getting rid of them and then making them like a fly speed without a hover.
But why would you get rid of Aarakocra, though? They're so cool.
Because so many DMs were like, how do I do this? How do I balance Aarakocras?
Oh, God.
Here's
Suddenly
an
I have to worry
idea.
about the air.
Just shoot
Use a
them.
bow.
Or a gun.
Use a
Or-
gun.
Or a Durgan.
Cast a hold person, and they die.
Yeah.
Looking at this, the first level thing you gain is a cantrip, but when you get things at 3rd and 5th level, those are actual spells.
Yeah.
And there seems to be a trend I'm noticing, which I really like this, is so once you cast these spells with this trait, you can't cast that spell with it again until you finish a long rest. However, you can cast a spell using any spell slots you have of the appropriate level. So it's not shut down to you, it's added to your list. Curse you,
Yep.
fruit fly, you are a
I
menace.
heal good.
And lastly, they get resistance to radiant damage. I never thought Asamar needed both radiant and necrotic. It's real good.
It is
yeah.
really good.
I get why, but also it's real good.
I think it makes sense to just do Radiant here. Because even though their ancestors probably, you know, have experience fighting creatures of the lower planes, they are their ancestors, and some things aren't passed down.
That means we're moving on to Dragonborn. Also, I'm glad that they haven't made the specification of these are exotic and these are the plain ones. And it's like,
yeah,
we don't care. Just lump them all together.
Yeah, exactly. We'll figure it out. We'll figure out how that they fit in.
Yeah,
Don't worry.
I'll tell you what's exotic. Your choice of Dragonborn coloration determines your breath weapon and also damage resistance. I don't imagine there's going to be very many changes we see in this.
No.
Oh, Dragonborn can't be small, though. That's too bad.
Oh.
Yeah, because then you're a cobbled.
Yeah, but they didn't put kobolds in here.
He's got a point.
Well, maybe if they cobbled it all together, then maybe.
Sorry, I just flew off my chair because the joke was so bad.
It looks like every breath weapon is now a 15-foot cone. D10 plus character level and damage. Oh.
Yeah, it makes it actually worth using at high levels.
Yeah.
Because the other one is just the scaling dice, right? Like up to a max of 4d10, I think.
Something like
at the
that.
highest, which is a
4d10's
good
pretty
amount
damn
of
good.
damage, but having the guaranteed, let's
Plus
say
20.
20 at level 20 is nice.
I'm sorry, I just read on ahead. Of course, we expected damage resistance. Anthony, Dragonborn are getting 60 feet of dark vision.
It's about damn time, dude.
Shit.
I never understood why they didn't have it.
Right?
Because dragons can see so much more than just in the dark.
And you, of course, Draconic.
Everybody's doing it, except for humans.
Got him. Ardlings actually don't have dark vision either.
I'm a resident human
Wait,
being, and
what?
I'm offended.
Correct. You are made of light, but you cannot
What
see
the
without
heck,
it.
dude? I guess you can cast light if you decide to be a heavenly kid.
That's
yeah. Dwarves also don't get the
Mine.
ability to be small.
My secondary. Wait,
Wait,
what?
Wait, what?
I know. This is another one
Wait,
where it's
what?
just make them small. Just do it. Ignore this rule. Make them small. Let everyone be small.
I just don't understand. Yes, we can change it, but what?
What made them decide to not put this on all of them?
Okay, you know what? It's fine. We're gonna move past this.
Yeah.
Don't worry though, we can have small humans.
Of course, dwarves have dark vision with a range of 60 feet. They
But they've
retain their poison resistance and advantage on saving throws to avoid or end the poison condition. The best dwarf trait out of the original subraces, your hit point maximum increases by 1 and increases by 1 whenever you gain a level.
I love that.
Here comes one of those things where it's it should be part of a background and not inherent in every dwarf. Tool proficiency.
Yeah,
Gain
kind of weird.
2 of the following: jewelers, masons, smiths, or tinkers' tools.
I'm glad they gave you an option at least, but at the end of the day, it's still
Yeah.
whatever,
It's so weird. Why the sudden shift into your divine creator?
Yeah,
It's like they're forcing lore onto the creation of a character.
yeah.
Rather than letting a DM or the player themselves work with the DM to come up with something that they want to explore.
Yeah, I feel like this is very much so Forgotten Realms lore seeping into
Yeah,
this,
of course.
because
Yeah.
obviously you have Moradin, and Moradin created the dwarves, and
Mhm.
the dwarves obviously raised their kin to be builders due to
Yeah,
that fact.
A society of crafters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you're in a setting that doesn't have Moradin or isn't the Forgotten Realms, then
Yeah. You have to either take this off of the dwarf trait and put it somewhere else, or just remove it entirely, or come
Yeah.
up with another reason why you have innate tool proficiencies.
I'll give them a +2 to the HP instead. They have the tough feet now.
On the other end of the spectrum, they did get rid of the inherent weapons and armor proficiency, so it's
Yeah,
they
that
half
is-
committed to this.
It's one step forward, one step slightly to the back, but laterally to the back.
A hesitant step forward.
Yeah. Isn't that a good paradigm to just progress in general?
The last thing they get is Stone Cunning. As a bonus action, you gain tremor sense with a range of 60 feet for 10 minutes. You must be on a stone surface, so stone specifically, or touching a surface to use this tremor sense. The stone can be natural or worked. You could use this bonus action a number of times. You do a proficiency bonus. You regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest.
I think that's really cool.
That is really freaking neat. Although I do feel like it's also tied to them being builders who live inside mountains.
Well, then we have to ask ourselves, what are dwarves? Are they specifically small humans, or are they made of the earth? Because I don't think specifically they need to be crafter revering beings, but I feel like dwarves are inherent within mountains, within earth as their element.
Yeah, I vibe with that. That's sort of how I see it as well.
All right, let's hop on over to elves, who also cannot be small.
I wonder if they got even more broken.
They do have a lot of abilities, so we'll get through them.
Good.
I think they roughly stay the same. So we got medium-sized elves, 30 feet. I don't think we're going to see anybody without 30 feet of movement. 750 years of life, dark vision, 60 feet, elven lineage. So with this, you've got your 3 elven types, and they get certain things at first level, third level, and fifth level. And these are the same 3 sub-races from the player's handbook: drow, high elves, and wood elves. The first level thing...
High elf is the best one, just without a doubt.
So the first level appears to be like a ability and a cantrip. Then the third and fifth level are spells to that particular heritage. Again, once you cast these spells with the straight, you can't cast that spell again until you finish a long rest, but you can use spell slots to fuel it instead. We'll go through those lineages in just a moment.
Drow don't have sunlight sensitivity anymore.
Nothing. Yeah,
I mean, good. That was stupid.
It was bad. Same thing for kobolds. I'm glad they got rid of it on kobolds as well. Yep. Fey ancestry. This is the same. You have advantage on saving throws to make or avoid or end the charm condition on yourself. You have your elven eyes. Your proficiency with the perception skill remains intact, and trancing still remains a thing.
Get rid of that keen sense. Get rid of it.
Yeah, I guess because they gave tremor sense to dwarves, they were like, I guess we should keep keen senses, maybe? Or it was vice versa. They were like, we're keeping keen senses, so let's give something to dwarves too.
Yeah, they were just like, we have to honor the phrase, what do your elven eyes see? It's like, there's so much meaning. It means so much. We're clearly in Tolkien's world. Yes, of course.
Clearly.
But no hobbits. No hobbits.
Yes, no hobbits.
That leads to lawsuits. These are some interesting abilities. Drow, at first level, they get their dark vision increased, then they know the dancing lights cantrip. They also get fairy fire at 3rd level, darkness at 5th level. I agree with you in high elves being the better of these 3 at the moment. Get prestidigitation, and whenever you finish a long rest, you can replace that cantrip with a different cantrip from the arcane spell list.
Oh my god. Okay, I didn't
Why
read
did you do that?
I read prestidigitation and I was like, I don't know what the fuck you guys are talking about. And then you read the rest of it and I was like,
new one.
Oh
yeah. And then you get 2 of the best spells in the game.
Okay, so elves are actually so much better than they were. Well, high elves specifically are so much better than they were before.
Yeah.
That is, Logan says replacing it is too much. That is
not going to survive playtesting, is what I'm saying here.
I don't know, because it is specifically giving up prestidigitation.
But, like, come on, dude. You also get Detect Magic and Misty Step. Like,
but why?
Those are goated spells.
They make sense to me.
They do, but, like...
Sure. But still.
Switching out cantrips.
Dallas asks, how come others can't change them? It's because high elves are the magical ones.
It's because they're bad, okay?
And then lastly, wood elves get a 5-foot bonus to their speed, and they know druidcraft.
L. Big L for wood elves.
L buff right there.
Honestly, I would say the drow one isn't that exciting either, because woohoo, you have 120 feet of dark vision. Great. You can also cast darkness. Guess what? You can't see through your darkness with the dark vision. So
yeah. Wood elves also get Long Strider and Pass Without Trace as their 3rd and 5th level spells, which are pretty good.
It's okay. I mean, Long Strider's not bad. It's not concentration, which is good.
It's situational, but Nooms. Guys, they don't let them be medium. What the hell?
Wait, they
Nope.
made gnomes move faster.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like I told you, I don't think there's going to be a single creature on this that doesn't have 30 feet of movement.
Why is it blah?
I think they just wanted
'Cause-
to equal everything out.
Fuck it.
Tiny legs.
But
Yeah, but tiny legs, quick feet.
it was, in my
Yeah, I
opinion,
suppose.
the issue of, the difference of 25 feet and 30 feet was one that we just resolved by letting one of the bigger characters carry the small one.
Yeah.
It was one of those things that we just really, we didn't want to manage that. We didn't want to worry about it.
I don't know. I feel like I wouldn't even go by race. I just go by size category. Like if you're size small, you're 25 feet. So if you're a small human, 25 feet.
All right, gnomes. They're humanoid. They're small, 30 feet, 425 years of age. They've also got their 60 feet of dark vision. They retain the advantage on intelligence, wisdom, and charisma saving throws. I love this. They've got the two gnomish lineages still. They get spells.
Gnomish cunning is insane.
Yeah.
Also, the rock gnome thing, you can create a little clockwork device still, so that's fun.
Oh my God. That's
Yeah.
all. I did not see that.
Oh, rad.
It was not so simple.
Oh dear God. Yeah, I was like, they get mending and prestidigitation. Get out of here, you damn fruit fly. I got it. It's dead. No more fruit fly.
Let's go.
Got him. Yo,
Nice.
I love this. Look at the size comparison between forest gnomes benefit and rock gnomes benefit.
Yep.
You're gonna need to scroll, Denny.
I know, man. I'm seeing that. So
Pretty fun.
Forest Gnome, I believe these abilities are pretty much the same. You get Minor Illusion Cantrip and the ability to speak with animals, same as before. Cast it number of times equal to your proficiency bonus. Okay, cool. And then you can use spell slots if needed. Rock Gnomes get Mending and Prestidigitation and then the trinket thing. Oh, you have to use 10 gold pieces worth of raw material to do this. Choose a function.
Did it not have a cost before?
Oh, no, you're right. It did have to use 10 gold pieces worth of material. I just never knew that. Never played a rock gnome, apparently. But this does seem to be pretty much in the same function. Choose one effect from prestidigitation. The device provides that effect.
Portable prestidigitation, then.
Yeah. So that's...
Well, you can also reclaim the materials, though, after you dismantle it. So you
Right.
can use the same 10 gold pieces of materials over and over, as long as, you have them.
Yeah, it seems pretty in line with what it was before. Gnome's fine. Gnome cunning is why you pick a gnome. Says,
That's true. I mean, there's not really much other reason to pick a gnome outside of that.
do you want to
Other
not
than
be...
the memes.
Do you not want to be messed up by a wizard? Be a gnome. So, halflings, we've got small creatures, obviously. 30 feet. It's all 30 feet. 150 years on average. That's great. They are brave, have advantage on saving throws to avoid or end frightened condition. They can move through the space of any creature that is a size larger than theirs, but you can't stop there. And when you roll a 1 on the d20 of a d20 test, this is a big rebranding of any d20 roll. You can re-roll the die, and you must use the new roll. And they have the stealth skill. Why? Because they have big feet, I guess. Does that?
And they're
Yeah,
tiny.
because that makes you stealthy.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
They're
does that help?
They're very tiny though.
yeah, maybe
That's
it is
true, they
the.
are 2 to 3 feet
2
tall.
to 3 feet.
They-
That's like
they are the smallest.
tiny.
I don't love brave. Again, just feels like you're making every halfling brave.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
making every halfling Bilbo.
Yeah.
Essentially. But again, going off of Denny's point before, the characters we make are not normal people. So
Yeah.
Even as far as halfling heroes go, though, the need to be more brave than other people. Maybe it's more of a, having to kind of take the step, which is a terrible metaphor, I realize, but to have to take that step to be more present, whereas other people might, because of their stature, feel the need to protect them. They're like, I've got this.
True.
yeah, I see what you're saying.
That
Yeah.
makes sense to me.
Jonamus, did they do away with the halfling subraces? Yeah, there's just the one now. So we don't have the one that gets the poison resistance, which I think it's fine.
They still have luck. It's fine.
They'll be fine.
They will be fine.
They can't crit fail ever. It's fine.
Yep.
Unless they do it again.
In which case, they probably took the lucky feat.
Let's move on to orcs, shall we?
Because boy.
Let's do it.
And orcs. We've got humanoids, medium size only, 30 feet, 80 years on average lifespan. Their special traits are Adrenaline Rush, where they can dash as a bonus action and gain temporary hit points equal to their proficiency bonus, which is really cool.
This seems very strong. Just right out the gate.
Yeah,
I love it.
into it.
Oh, hi, team.
Hello.
Oh my gosh, it's
Hi,
Dallas. Going back to the orcish Adrenaline Rush. So you get that dash as a bonus action and a number of temporary hit points. You can use this a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus before a long rest. More dark vision, powerful builds, which means you treat carrying capacity and weight, pushing, dragging, lifting as if you were a size larger. And they retain their relentless endurance, which I think this is a great ability. You know, drop to 0, drop to 1 instead.
It's pretty
Yeah,
neat.
super good.
It's a classic. Dallas, have you ever played an orc?
No, maybe. I don't think so.
I have not.
I played a half orc once. It was fun. Did I play more than one? I don't think so. Let's go down to tieflings. This is interesting. Tieflings now have a variety of lineages. We've got Abyssal, Chthonic, and Infernal. How do you feel about Chthonic, Ryan?
Chthonic is like Greek inspired, which is pretty neat. It's like Hades and whatnot.
I assume it's based on the language of it. It would be more like Cthulhuian.
It is in fact not. Chthonic is Greek mythology. Straight ripped off Greek mythology. If it was Cthulhu tieflings, sign me up for that. If it was like out of, well, I guess Abyssal tieflings would be as close as we can get to that, but I don't know. If there was like a new sort of region which was just the cosmic nothing, then sign me up for tieflings from there.
Well, if we do compare this to like, I've already forgotten what they're called, the celestial animal people. This
Ardling.
is Ardling. Thank you. This is a direct reflection of that. You know, we've got a neutral, a good, or lawful, and a chaotic, evil plane. Whereas Abyssal is chaotic evil, Chthonic is neutral evil, which might still be able to tie in with your cosmic line. And then Infernal is the lawful evil, where devils and such. I love that this one gets to be a small race.
I know.
Yes.
It's me,
Yes,
tiny
I can
Me
tiefling,
too.
party of imps.
Let's go.
Aw, how cute.
Yay!
Let's make
So cute and terrible.
So we've got, they're humanoid. You can be medium or small. They've got 30 feet of movement, 100 years on average of lifespan, 60 feet of dark vision, and they get, similar to Ardlings, they'll get it looks like they get their own resistance based on their lineage, as well as a cantrip, and then a 3rd and 5th level spell. Not the level of the spell, but a spell at those levels. As per the trend, you cast this thing once per day, and then you can use spell slots for it. Otherworldly presence. You know the Thaumaturgy cantrip. When you cast it with... This is just the same thing as previous. You get the Thaumaturgy cantrip. Wabang.
Yep.
Otherwise, okay, we got to look at these fiendish legacies. I was like, I'm not impressed by tieflings, but here we go. So, Abyssal gets resistance to poison damage, and also knows the poison spray cantrip. 3rd level, they get Ray of Sickness, and 5th level, they get Hold Person. Fun.
Whole
Chthonic.
person, that's neat.
That is a good spell to have. The Chthonic ones get resistance to necrotic damage. They know Chill Touch, False Life, and Ray of Enfeeblement. So it's very much they feel very undead in comparison.
Yeah.
All the necrotic stuff going down there.
Yeah, the weird shit.
And then Infernal is our throwback to the original tiefling with fire resistance, firebolt cantrip. That's interesting. Give a good ranged cantrip for them. And then Hellish Rebuke and Darkness.
I like what they've done here with the Abyssal one, because that set of spells in and of itself kind of combos together. So that's nice, I guess.
Oh.
Yes, they did. Logan says they did have darkness before.
Thanks, Logan.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
God, why the hell am I playing human? I'm just kidding.
You finally figured it out, Ryan.
No, humans are
Hold on.
so cool.
Let me grab their friggin' buzzwords. It's because you're resourceful, skillful, and versatile.
Yes, that's correct. Because I'm a sleepy boy, unlike you elves.
That's all the races that are going to be a part of this playtest. So let's talk about character backgrounds. So you get the usual things, skill proficiencies, tool proficiencies, whatnot, languages from character backgrounds. But you also, this is where you get your ability scores and
Yes.
a first level feat.
Very cool.
So let's go through some of these. When you choose a background, you have 3 options. Build a background by using the rules. Okay, select a pre-made background, or select a pre-made background from the sample background. Hold on, are those last...
Keep going. Keep going.
Keep reading.
Scroll to the next page.
And then customize it with rules. In
I
the
had
build
the
your background
exact
section.
same. I did the exact same thing this morning.
Wait a minute, hold on. 2 of these are the same. So
Do this or anything.
Yeah, I mean, I like that. That's
I do,
kind
too.
of what D&D should be, in my opinion. So
yeah, here's some guidelines or go crazy. Let's look at building a background. I mean, it's pretty much, you have an idea, award yourself some mechanical benefit for coming up with your own original backstory. So ability scores, it's the common trend now of increase 1 score by 2 and another by 1, or alternatively choose 3 scores to increase by 1. Give yourselves 2 skill proficiencies. Give yourself 1 tool proficiency. Give yourself 1 language. And give yourself 1 feat, 1 first level feat. And give yourself 50 gold pieces to spend on starting equipment. I think that's huge. Like,
Backgrounds are super good now.
it's...
Oh yeah.
Here is money, go spend it on the equipment you want to start with. So many times have I been like, I don't want to be a cleric with a freaking mace when I start off, and I don't want to have to spend, I don't want to have to come in at 5th level in some other campaign to get 200 gold pieces to build my character. You can do it at 1st level now. It's the way it is.
Yeah, this is definitely more in line with, I think, how most of us here would prefer to build a character, especially now that we've had so much experience with like ancestries and cultures from Arcanist Press and like other more open ways of experiencing D&D. So I like this.
Yeah, this is such a good change.
I mean, we got to look at these sample backgrounds, right? I think they've gotten rid of the roleplay benefit.
Yes, they have. In place, you get a feat, which I guess would be your
That makes sense.
your roleplay benefit.
That makes a hell of a lot of sense.
Especially from like a DM standpoint of like, okay, I have to like work this into the game now because it's part of the character, but it's such like a esoteric thing to make work when rather you could just, have people talk to them anyways in a certain way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or be like, I just happen to know this guy in my backstory who does this thing. It's like, perfect. We're just building your character instead of going, you specifically have to roleplay this thing because it's the background you chose.
Yeah, and I
Like,
find
we have a great example in our game itself because I have like the far traveler background. It's supposed to be like I have like strange mannerisms and people find me interesting and like, okay, sure. Like that's cool. Like I'm glad that you've used it a little bit, Teni. But even so, I feel like that's just an extra thing that you kind of have to keep in the back of your mind when there's other things to worry about.
Yeah, and like
Yeah.
I feel like some of those roleplay benefits sort of make you have to build a character that is either of certain level or certain age. Like for example, folk hero is like,
Yeah.
if you're a level 1 character and you choose folk hero, it's like, what'd you do?
How? You're a regular guy.
Did somebody accidentally almost stub their toe and you moved the rock?
There you go.
There you
Like, to a
go.
bunch of commoners, you could read them a book and you'd be a folk hero.
There it is. Yeah, congratulations.
I read a book one time out loud.
Yeah, and like the funny thing with Folk Hero is like if you're a level 1 character, the roleplay benefit for that is like, oh, if you're in the town that you saved, everyone there is willing to help you, and like they recognize you for what you did, and it's like, what did you do at level 1? Hey, it's
Also,
that guy.
If you're adventuring after that, you're probably not going to go back to that town that you saved for a while.
Also that, yeah.
Because you can literally swap anything out on these backgrounds. Like maybe I was an acolyte for a God of War. I don't have insight. I have athletics. Yeah. True enough.
True.
Just pull it apart, make it your own. These are bases. Tear it apart as needed.
I feel like to that point, like we don't really need to go through these sample backgrounds unless we really want to.
Not particularly. I am curious which feats they get, though.
There's only one thing I am very excited about. When I scrolled down quickly, there's a cultist background.
There sure is.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Also, on a quick look here, I'm guessing they're gonna be maybe moving away from like equipment packs.
Honestly, let's be real. Who knows what the hell's in
No
a
idea.
freaking Dungeoneers pack?
Zero idea.
The Scholars pack, never cared about it. Did you ever remember you had a bag of sand?
I love the feats from the backgrounds. I'm a huge fan of that.
Yeah.
It's good.
Looks like
And I like that everyone gets a feat at first level too. That's really fun.
it's interesting too because like some of these feats are like what we know now to be really good. Some of them have been altered to be, a first level version of that feat, so things might be a little different. Artisans, they get crafter as a feat, which we'll take a look at that in a bit. I find it funny they also get gnomish as their language.
I
Yo,
know.
look what charlatan gets as its language.
Infernal.
Why?
Okay. Interesting.
What is?
They
You're
had to
a
pick something.
silver-tongued devil, you. So therefore,
That's literally, I can almost picture Chris Perkins just making that joke in his head, being like, silver-tongued
so
devil, I'm
funny.
going to put this in.
Logan, only devils commit crimes.
Let's all be devils then.
and they get the skilled feat, which is just wild.
Yeah. That makes
I
sense,
mean-
though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Is Thieves' Cant not a thing? Did they give up on that?
No, it
No,
is.
because they
That
gave it to
is still-
criminal.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on.
Oh,
there it
is
is.
a
'Cause
language.
There's a list of languages in here. It was still in there, yeah.
That's so weird. That is weird.
This is like why
Yeah.
dwarves can't be small.
BRB. I beat someone at a game of cards. I now speak the language of devils. Let's go.
Criminals get the alert feat.
Makes
Cultists,
sense.
magic initiate, the arcane spell list. Entertainers get musician. Makes sense. Oh, there's a farmer background.
Yep, they get tough.
Tough.
Oh, I like that.
Gladiators get savage attacker.
I like
The
that they
languages
actually
are
gave
so weird in
Gladiator
here.
a
Sorry,
background.
like all of the languages are so odd.
They
Why,
should-
why isn't it just like take any language you
Yeah.
want? Why does farmers get halfling?
Agreed. Like that's what all of these should say. They should not have been decided.
Yeah.
Yep.
You can do it. It's just got to keep reminding ourselves we can tear these
You
things
can
apart
change
and make
it.
them,
Yeah.
but they're dumb.
It's just weird.
To be fair,
Yeah.
though, there are, like, I feel like we're a very specific group of players that like to tear things down and make them our own. But
course.
there's lots of players out there who just see all these words and are just like, okay, just tell me what to do. And so they'll
Yes.
just pick one of these.
I mean,
Yeah.
So I feel like for them, this is kind of doing a disservice.
yeah. I mean, earlier, Anthony, when you were talking about how this would be the step that really slowed down the process, these charts, as they're written, stop that. It'll continue to go quick
Yeah.
because all the decisions are made.
Yeah.
And like, I think for me, like if I was running a professional game, I would just say like, okay, pick one of the sample backgrounds and go from there. I wouldn't probably let them
Yeah.
like build a whole thing out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Hey, by the way, all guards are dwarves. Let's go.
All guards are dwarves and they're all alert, which we know is not true. Both of those
Right.
things.
They all say, "What was that just now?"
Oh, it must have been the wind. Guides get magic initiate the primal spell list.
And they speak giant.
As you do.
Sure.
So do hermits. They get the Sylvan language. I like that we've had to talk about the languages.
It's just so weird.
Yeah.
Laborers are tough and dwarvish.
Mm.
Okay, I like that laborers are tough. That
I
makes
like that
sense.
too.
Laborers are some hardy people.
I have no qualms with that. Nobles are skilled, wrong, and draconic.
Take
Wow.
that, you bourgeoisie fucks.
There should be a feat called rich, and that should be what they get.
That's your...
I've got
Honestly,
money.
Real talk,
Oh.
wealth is a fucking superpower.
Just
You can pay
Yeah.
people to do things.
Replace feat skilled with feat 100 gold pieces.
Honestly, give them give them like 500 GP right off the bat.
Mhm.
That's what I'd do. You ain't skilled. You had a freaking silver spoon your whole life.
They start with a signet ring too, so
Yep.
I mean, based on the fact that I haven't seen a first level version of the linguist feat, I think they're going to get rid of that. Because noble feels like it would be the one class to get that. What did Logan say? Give them weekly income from the taxes they collect from their peasants.
mm,
It's the opposite
it's
of
just called taxation.
it's the opposite of the guild artisan background, where you have to pay like a certain amount of money every month for your
Yeah.
membership fees.
Right.
The union dues get paid to you.
Yep.
Feet the
Feet
1%. Oh gosh.
Oh, Pilgrim
Okay.
gets healer? Let's go.
Pilgrim gets healing. They're all halflings. That's not true. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for the folks out there who
Does
came
say
for
that, though.
serious comb
But
through
it
of this.
says that right there. They're mostly
Oh, it
humans and
does.
halflings.
We.
Oh god,
Oh
stop
my god. Wow.
Stop
That. Yep.
pigeonholing races into things.
There it is.
Yeah!
They can't not do it.
Woo!
Well, Gideon, good for you on playing to the canon of their lore.
Mhm.
Oh man, I didn't do that on purpose.
Hey, are you also proficient in religion and survival?
Hey, you know what?
He also has a musical instrument proficiency.
Hey,
Yeah.
I do. Guess what? My wisdom's bad though.
Yeah, we know.
You know, bud.
Holy crap.
Um,
Sages, Magic Initiate, Arcane, and
Oh.
Elvish. Oh,
Why do sailors know primordial?
because they are people of the sea, and one of the primordial languages is of water. But whatever.
Uh-huh.
I'm not going to justify it.
Okay.
They get Tavern Brawler. I like that.
I mean, that
Yeah,
makes
that's
sense.
fun.
Yes, but
Sorry,
they can
where are we
speak
looking?
in,
Yeah.
Sailor.
Sailor.
We're on Sailor.
I'm sorry. I was making some adjustments to my timers.
Very well. It's quite all right. It's quite all right. Yeah, they so because they hang out on the water, they can all of a sudden speak in assorted gags and gargles and
Mhm.
speak to rocks.
Speak
Hmm,
to
you think they
rocks.
they got so drunk that they learned primordial?
Yeah. Ooh, what does Soldier get?
Soldier gets the Savage
Goblin
Attacker.
and Savage Attacker.
Yep.
Hey, we're all goblin trophy.
And lastly, Urchin gets Common Sign
Wow,
Language
this
and
is-
Lucky.
This is
That's
very
actually interesting.
that's very
Ooh.
ironic.
If they were so lucky, why are they an urchin?
Correct. Yes, they'd be a noble if they were lucky. You know what? That's the noble feat. Lucky.
Yes.
There you go.
Honestly, yep.
Oh,
Yep.
true. Yeah.
Well, there we go. There's our feedback, Wizards of the Coast. You need to give lucky to the noble.
Hmm.
Because they were born into the 1%.
Okay, so aside from backgrounds, you also get a starting language. You know at least 3 common, a language provided by your character's background, and a language that you choose. Give
Oh,
us
they've
there, what's-
introduced sign language.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I'm curious what that means for like verbal components of spells. I've seen people debate this before.
Interesting.
Yeah, I guess it
You
would
know?
depend on the table.
So we're getting on to feats. I'm really excited to go through these. So
Mm-hmm.
each feat has a level. To take a feat, your level must equal or exceed the feat's level.
Interesting.
Feats have prerequisites. You must meet any prerequisite. If you lose a feat's prerequisite after you've taken it, you can't use that feat again until you regain it. If a feat is repeatable, you could take it more than once. If it's not repeatable, you can only take it once. A lot of self-explanatory things I just read there. The alert feat first level feat, no prerequisite, non-repeatable. Always on the lookout for danger. You gain the following benefits. When you roll initiative, you can add your proficiency bonus to the roll. And immediately after you roll initiative, you could swap your initiative with the initiative of one willing ally in the same combat. You can't make the swap if you or the ally is incapacitated.
So this is a nerf buff.
Yeah.
And I love this.
Enough,
Because-
if you will.
Yes, enough, if you will. Yes. Big fan of the initiative swap thing, but as somebody who has played characters with the alert feat, because I like going first sometimes if I'm playing a certain character, aka a wizard. It's a little rough with my proficiency bonus being doo-doo water up until high level. I think in the late game, this is definitely a huge buff, again, because your proficiency bonus goes up to 6 or 5, depending. But early game, it's a huge nerf. And I like that. It makes sense game design-wise, but I'm sad. Because I want to have +5 at level 1.
I think the original alert was like, you get the +5 to initiative, you can't
Never be surprised.
Can't be surprised, and no creature gets advantage on attack rolls against you for not being seen.
Right. It was kind of cracked. It definitely needed a nerf.
I mean, this is only the first level version. It might get
I
better.
think
Oh, is that the idea
True.
that there are multiple levels of each?
Maybe. Or maybe it's just there.
Oh.
I mean, each feat will have a level, so there is like a level prerequisite. I don't exactly know if there will be multiple versions of the same feat at higher levels. Hard to say.
I was imagining
Yeah.
it like the invocations, where you're like, you have to be
I was
this level
just
to
about
take
to say
that
that, Dallas.
invocation. That's how I was understanding this. But that would be interesting
Yeah.
if there are just higher level versions of different feats.
I mean, maybe there's like Alert 2 unlocked at like
Yeah.
8th level.
Yeah,
We're
that's
going
interesting.
Bioshock now.
Yeah, I mean, like a lot of systems have
Oh,
done
yeah.
that sort of thing where, like
Yeah.
Knights of the Old Republic, where you get like feat number 1 version, feat number 2 version. It's the same thing but better.
You know what they might be doing is they might be doing ASIs and feats. Like you might get both now in that case.
Oh, so they might do
Ooh.
like global nerfs to feats in general, so they're not so alluring to take.
Well,
You can just have both and not like power creep too hard.
Yeah, because I like that there's definitely more, like there's gonna be more feats being used. I hope they make more feats. Feats are cool.
Mhm.
But I don't like having to trade having good
Mhm.
stats for it.
Mhm.
But if they're gonna make leveled feats, it makes sense to me to have both. Because sacrificing your stats to level up a feat, I don't know.
hey, Christy.
Especially if you roll low.
Yeah, especially if you roll bad, especially if you roll like Ryan. If you roll like Ryan, poo poo.
Okay, let's move on. Would somebody like to read the crafter feat?
Sure. Prerequisite none. Repeatable no. You are adept at crafting things and bargaining with merchants. Grant you the following benefits: tool proficiency. You gain a tool proficiency with 3 different artisans' tools of your choice. Damn, that's wild.
Yeah.
Discount.
Mhm.
When you buy a non-magical item, you receive a 20% discount on it.
Sure.
That's incredible. Fast. I mean, well, it's not magical, but it's alright. It's whatever. If it was all items, that'd be neat. Whatever. Faster crafting. When you craft an item using a tool with which you have tool proficiency, the required crafting time is reduced by 20%. That's good.
So
That-
are we getting like new crafting rules?
That's
'Cause I'm
what I
sure
was
that's
about to
not
ask.
a thing.
Yep.
Yeah, I was gonna
We
say
need
because
solid crafting rules if this is going to be a
Yeah.
thing.
I was gonna say I've been
Mhm.
homebrewing crafting times in my head when I DM.
Yeah.
So if I had that time and I'd be like, well, I'm just gonna subtract 20% from that, that's still a huge boon regardless. Like crafting takes a lot of time, so being able to shave off in theory several days if it's a big project, like that's massive. I'm just thinking like if you're like, let's say you're taking part in a siege and you're building a siege implement, you can save
Mhm.
days building that thing.
I'm not a big fan of a discount as an ability.
Yeah.
Yeah, that seems strange. I always enjoy the roll for discount
roll for haggling? Yeah.
situations. Yeah, I
Roll
think it's
haggling.
fun because then
Yeah.
it could be a fun roleplay moment, especially if you fail miserably at it.
I mean, maybe some sort of benefit to doing that instead of you get a discount.
I guess the other one would just be you get proficiency with persuasion. I think Ryan wants to take healer.
I love this feat. I'm so excited to use this feat.
I can read all of
Proficiency
them.
none, repeatable no. You have the training and intuition to administer first aid and other care effectively. Granted you the following benefits. Battle medic. If you have a healer's kit, you can expend 1 use of it and tend to a creature within 5 feet of you as an action. That creature can expend 1 of its hit dice, and then you roll that die. That creature regains a number of HP equal to the roll plus your proficiency bonus. I like that we're using hit dice again. This is great. Healing rerolls. Whenever you roll a dice to determine the number of hit points you restore with a spell, or with this feat's battle medic benefit, you can re-roll the dice if it rolls a 1, and you must use the new rule. That's amazing because
Yeah,
I
good.
roll 1s all the time.
I'm happy for you to have that. Yeah.
Yeah, same.
This is
Mhm.
great. This is a huge
Mhm.
boon.
Yeah, because before what it was you get to add 1d6 plus 4 plus character level, was it?
Oh,
We'll pull
equal
it
to
up.
the character's number of hit
Of-
dice.
It does.
Oh yes, number of hit, which is a weird thing, but okay,
Yeah,
sure.
It's very strange. So basically character level.
I mean, it's character level, yeah.
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 I
The-
like
this
that
is-
we're using hit dice. Like we're having more reasons to use hit dice. Like yes, this is kind of a nerf, but I like we're using hit dice, and I also like that with characters that have bigger hit dice, you can heal better.
in
Yeah, but
in
it's sad the
proportion
character
to their
has,
hit
like,
point
less
pool.
hit dice.
Well,
Yeah, exactly.
So
That's too bad.
the original feat was a d6 in the first place, so we're not rolling any less dice.
Yeah,
in
that's true.
addition, the original healer feat we've currently got is you can only benefit once per short rest. This you could just, as long as you have a healer's kit and you have
and hit
uses of it
dice.
and hit dice, you can just keep using the healer's kit.
Yeah, which I love.
Mhm.
That's great.
Mm-hmm. How
That's where
many
the
uses
buff
does a
comes in.
healer's kit have?
10.
It's like
10.
10. Okay.
Yeah, so I think it'll be interesting. This is one that we've given to Ryan for Play Dicely, so we're going to play test this feat.
I'm very excited.
Very excited indeed. Now,
It's gonna be good.
Now let's talk about Lucky. Ryan, there is a bit of restoration with this one. So,
Okay, let's have someone read it.
yes, go
Dallas,
ahead.
you want to take this?
I can read it. Lucky. First level feat. Prerequisite none. Repeatable no. You have inexplicable luck that can kick in at just the right moment, granting you the following benefits. Luck points. You have a number of luck points equal to your proficiency bonus. You can spend the points on the benefits below, and you regain your expended luck points when you finish a long rest. Advantage. Immediately after you roll a d20 for a d20 test, you can spend 1 luck point to give yourself advantage on the roll. Or disadvantage, when a creature rolls a d20 for an attack roll against you, you can spend 1 luck point to impose disadvantage on that roll.
So,
First off,
Neat.
I hate the name D20 test.
Yeah,
I
me too.
really
Agreed.
dislike it a lot.
I get what they're doing, like a name
I'm sure
to
they'll
just.
come up with a better name.
I really
I know
hope
they
so.
will.
Yeah,
I hope
dice
so.
check was perfect, bro.
I think they're trying to avoid the blending of names across different types of checks, though,
Yeah.
Fair.
because you have ability check. So unless they changed that to something else and just made the whole thing like a dice check, but I don't know. I feel like there's a better all-encompassing term they could use, but
So this feat got, in my opinion, hella
Yep.
buffed because before it was just 3 luck points. Now you get your proficiency bonus
that is true. You get upwards of
Mm.
6.
upwards of
Mhm.
6.
That's a lot.
Oh my god!
So, with the bar being at 3, so that occurrence would happen at, where the heck is all my stuffs? I need to
Proficiency
look at a
3 is
class.
level 5, I believe, or level 4.
Well, so
That's
this
5.
would only get better than the original feat by level 9, which most games don't get beyond level 10.
Sure.
True.
So there's that statistic. But furthermore, the original wording of lucky, which Logan pointed out to me, it doesn't make advantage become super advantage anymore. Because what the wording says is, whenever you make an attack roll ability check or saving throw, you can spend one of these points to roll an additional die. Meaning, if you had advantage, you get to roll a third die.
Oh.
true.
This
Okay.
does
Now
not
it
allow
does
for
give
that.
Okay.
advantage.
So you can't
Yeah.
stack advantage
You
anymore.
can't stack it.
Good.
That's good.
So if you had advantage and you used this, it would be wasted. Logan, of
Like,
course,
and you
hop in
can't
chat. Get
use
in
it to
here.
reroll.
The team
Full dicely
League.
discussion. We just need Adam and Christy.
I missed a part. Okay. Not a problem, Logan. Come in here and teach me.
How's it going?
Hey.
Hey.
What up?
Okay, so what I wanted to say is why Lucky is bullshit before is the wording is roll an additional die. Pick one of the dice, use that result. It makes disadvantage super advantage because you pick the result. In the wording, you do not use the lowest result when you have disadvantage and use lucky. You still just pick whichever one you want.
I didn't even know that. Oh my
Yep.
god.
Lucky was broken, and this fixes it, in my opinion.
Okay.
Yeah, you know what? I've for the longest time, I've for some reason not paid close enough attention to the wording and assumed it already worked to like this fix. But no, that feat is officially broken in my eyes.
I always ran it that if you had disadvantage and you used a luck point, you could re-roll one of the dice and then you took that new one, basically.
That's like also a much better way than the way it's written. But yeah, the way it's written is just roll an additional die, use whichever one of these dice you want.
Well,
Lucky's fixed.
Lucky's fixed, I guess, for now. We'll see.
For now.
Yeah, by the end of the playtest, they might be like, what if we make Lucky even more powerful? It's just an automatic crit. Just to fuck with Ryan.
Well,
Yep.
wait till we get to that section.
Yeah,
I have
Yes.
freaking.
We all have
PTSD.
I
thoughts on
have
that, I'm
thoughts.
Freaking give me.
We're all
this is
gonna
like,
erase the crit rules.
All right,
Yeah.
let's go on to the next one.
Magic Initiates. I'll take this one. First level feats. It's got no prerequisites. It is repeatable, but you must choose a different spell list each time you have learned the basics of a particular magical tradition. Choose one spell list: arcane, divine, or primal. You gain the following benefits related to that choice. 2 cantrips. You learn 2 cantrips of your choice from the spell list. A first level spell. Choose one first level spell from the spell list. You always have that spell prepared. You can cast it once without a spell slot, and you regain the ability to cast it in that way when you finish a long rest. You can also cast the spell using any spell slots you have. Intelligence, Wisdom, or Charisma is your spellcasting for these spells. Spellcasting ability for these spells. You choose that when you take this. Consult the player's handbook on the rules for spellcasting. Wow, okay.
That's really funny that they do that.
And whenever you gain a new level, you can replace one of the spells you chose for this feat with a different spell of the same level from the chosen spell list.
There is an important change in here from the current version where you can also cast the spell using any spell slots. In the current version, you can't. It's only once per long rest.
That is becoming a common trend with even amongst the races that give you spells. You can do that too.
Because I almost took this in Dicely, but I didn't because I wouldn't be able to cast Mage Armor more than once.
The interesting thing about this, though, is like I'm looking at this from also looking at like some of the races and just how many fucking cantrips you can have.
Yeah.
You can get 2 cantrips from here. You can get like another 2 from another race, and then like your class as well. Like that's so many cantrips that you can start with depending on your race background combo.
Yeah, like if you took a tiefling with this, and then like you could pick, they start with what arcane things, take primal with this, and then be a cleric. You've gotten like 2 things from other schools, access to the divine ones. Like that's a lot of cantrips at level 1.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, let's move on to
from
musician.
this. I'll read musician. First level feat, prerequisite, none, repeatable, no. You are a practiced musician, granting you the following benefits: instrument training, you gain tool proficiency with 3 musical instruments, and inspiring song. As you finish a short rest or a long rest, you may play a song on a musical instrument with which you have tool proficiency, and give inspiration to allies who hear the song. The number of allies you can affect in this way equals your proficiency bonus. Interesting. It's not just all of them.
Yeah.
So this is really good for small parties and not great for big parties yet.
If you're role playing well, most of the party's probably getting their inspiration, and then maybe 1 or 2 of you have decided to spend it. Now you can re-up the 2 who just happen to not have it.
Yeah, I
But
guess
if you're
so.
role playing well and you have a DM that's giving it out anyways, why bother?
I would say with the new rules, though, there's a lot of ways to get inspiration now.
There are
So
also
this is just to fill that in, I think. Like
there is also, if you don't spend it by the end of a long rest, it's gone.
Oh.
True. Yeah.
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, next up on the list, we have Savage Attacker, which seems pretty straightforward. First level feat, no prerequisite, not repeatable. You've trained to deal particularly damaging strikes. When you take the attack action and hit a target with a weapon as part of that action, you can reroll the weapon's damage dice twice and use either roll against the target. You can use this benefit only once per turn.
This just gives you advantage on damage rolls.
Yeah, so skill's the same. Get 3 skills.
It's repeatable.
Wow.
That's whack.
Whose
Oh,
turn, Zarya?
Oh, it is repeatable. Wait, hold on.
The only feats Logan takes from this point onwards.
Logan.
Yeah. All right, I'm
How
just every level up and skilled.
I'm proficient in everything, and I'm reliable talent.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh,
You good, Dallas? You alright?
that would be so fun. I just wanted to be that person.
I'm a skill monkey.
All right, who would like to read Tavern Brawler?
All right, Tavern Brawler, first level feat, no prerequisites. It's not repeatable. You take this once and that's it, boys and girls and folks.
Okay.
Accustomed to brawling, you gain the following benefits.
I love
You
that
get an
description.
enhanced unarmed strike. When you hit with your unarmed strike, deal damage, and you can do deal damage. You can deal bludgeoning damage equal to 1d4 plus your strength mod instead of the normal damage of an unarmed strike. Damage rerolls whenever you roll a damage die for an unarmed strike. You can reroll ones. Have to use the new one. That wording after that always just seems weird to me. It just like seems like filler because like either you get another one and you're like, okay, I guess it's saying that. I get it. You can't keep re-rolling ones, but shove, you can push when you hit with an unarmed strike as part of an attack action on your turn, deal damage. You can push them 5 feet away once per turn. Furniture as weapon. This is a nerf. You can wield furniture as a weapon using the rules of the Great Club for small or medium furniture and rules of a club for tiny furniture. I don't like that. Because it used to just be that you got improvised weapons. All improvised weapons. Because if you're a tavern brawler, you're picking up that bottle and smashing someone on the head.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, hear me out. What about large furniture?
I pick up the
By the ruling of this, no benefit. You cannot use it as a weapon.
What if I'm a Goliath and I pick up a large chair?
What if I pick up the whole bar?
What if I pick up the house?
What if I pick up a person?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Though they're
But they're
might-
medium, so.
I think what they've tried to clear up in this, and I think furniture is the wrong word. It should be tavern dressings, because you are somebody who brawls within taverns, right? So it's like
You're
pick up a
clear
chair, pick up the
into it, in
bottle,
fact.
pick up another patron. I guess I don't know. So-
Yeah, so I guess with
Yeah.
bottles
Give him
you
the
would
Bowser.
use club, and then if it shatters, dagger. I don't know.
Nope, that's
uh,
tiny still. It's still club.
Still club. Yeah, it sharpens
the
club.
bludgeoning stabs of the broken bottle. Oh, I'd be.
yeah, you're
Stop
gonna,
hitting me, but also stabbing me, please.
yeah. That's
Something
gonna-
I just thought about though, which is kind of neat. This is a huge buff to monks because you can re-roll your melee attack damage, and when your die gets up to a D10 or whatever it gets up to,
it is.
Oh.
Holy shit.
This is
That's
why I
correct.
like these first level feats. This thing of like everyone starts because like I would say that's in no way worth taking in replacement of an ability score increase or a better feat. But at first level, if you're going to be a monk and just knowing that's in your pocket, like that's like a great flavor feat.
Yeah. However,
The drunken master monk with this,
Oh,
ooh,
yeah.
that's thematic.
would the enhanced unarmed strike feature overwrite martial arts, or would it exist
you,
together?
simultaneously.
you could get to choose either or. They're both your features.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
And if you're in one-on-one situations, if you attack somebody with an unarmed strike and then push them 5 feet away, you don't have to waste a key point on disengaging.
Yep,
Yeah, that's real nice.
it's a massive buff to monks. I'm telling you, it's
Honestly,
crazy.
There's
Shove,
potential.
I think should be part of the monk subclass or the monk class, in my opinion.
I realize this is getting a little off topic from this, but I do think in the variant rules, a shove attack is a thing anyone can do.
Well, now, here's the thing. This is, you hit somebody, you deal damage, and then you shove. What anybody else can do is, as one of their attacks, they can shove.
True.
Not getting to deal damage.
I just want to roundhouse kick a guy so hard that he flies backwards. Is that so much to ask?
I love that. Do that, bro.
That sounds very fun.
I have to
Well-
be a better monk than I am now, though.
I also love that there's no size
Someday.
restriction on shove, so if you kick a dragon, it's just gonna.
True. You're right.
Oh, now they're gonna fix it.
Hope you're watching, Perkins. Figure it out.
Kick a Tarask and it goes. Ah.
Oh god.
Stop that.
What the hell? This little
like-
thing just kicked me and I slid.
Now you're dead. But maybe you survive because of tough.
Hmm,
Yeah, which is the exact
Maybe.
same.
Yep.
They just worded it
is
better.
the same.
Get 2 hit points per level. So that's all the like character build stuff. So everything past this point is just rules glossary. So anything that's rules different from the player's handbook, it'll kind of detail those things from this point forward. Oh gosh, there's gonna be some things to talk about. So
Oh yeah.
Oh boy.
firstly, it talks about arcane spells. It seems like they've divided spells into the 3 magic sources: arcane, divine, and primal. As to how classes are going to interact with these is to be seen, because until they figure out what they're doing with classes, we don't know that in this document.
I mean,
we
to be completely frank with you, I already did this as a DM.
yeah.
I already split these 3. I didn't name them as such, but it was like the sources matter for lore reasons.
At least from what I seem to be gathered from the little bit they've shared, the idea being classes don't have a spell list, they pull from like a greater thing. I'm wondering how that's going to make things like sorcerer and wizard feel different in the grand scheme of things. Like all their spells are the same, but it also, I do like the idea that like sorcerers can take a few more utility spells, because right now their spell list is very heavy on like just do damage, whereas like the wizard is like your caster for like, I want to do a bit of everything and dabble as much as I wanted.
I mean, it's also interesting for like the magic initiates, because they've turned into magic initiate of the 3 spell sources or magic sources instead of initiates of a class.
Yes, I prefer that.
Yeah. Which maybe that's the only difference. Maybe the classes retain their spell class lists and they've just been separated like this for specifically magic initiates or similar feats. But
However,
I hope
I
to
guess
see
we'll find
classes, change with that.
hear me out. Release a spell book of spells that are really gross and messed up and give it only to the warlock. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Warlock could
Okay,
use
that.
with some separation.
I want some patron spells. That's my source, patron. I don't know.
Artisan's tools.
I love the last sentence of this,
Yeah.
Yep.
but ignore those prices.
they
They don't
cost-
matter anymore. Everything's the same.
That's what's changed. They're now 15 gold pieces for any artisan's tool. Okay.
Sure.
Cool.
All
I
right.
guess it's
As
probably this way so that it's easier to like create a background using those tools so you can buy them.
Right.
Oh my
'Cause
god.
some of them
dude.
are always like way more
Yes.
expensive than the others.
some of them are
Yeah.
pricey.
Tinker's Tools
Um,
is 50 gold.
Oh
Yep.
yeah. That's right.
That is a huge buff.
And it's, but like the reality is like, because in 5th edition crafting was so little of a rule set, there's so
Mhm.
little things related to it, it felt like an arbitrary price tag.
Yeah.
Like
Absolutely.
what are those tools doing for you mechanically? Every now and then maybe you found some cool thing to do with them. I know there's variant rules, but yeah, I like just make them all 15, because
Agreed.
otherwise, Tinker's tools are so expensive.
Moving on to creature types. That hasn't been terribly relevant in this document. I mean, there are the types of creatures you'll see on monsters and stuff, but all the races are pretty much humanoid. It's at this point where things become a bit more relevant to us with this introduction of a D20 test. So,
Name bad. Next.
name bad, basically smaller version of saying ability checks, attack rolls, and saving throws.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although this does change things, because before you could not critically fail an ability check via the normal rules, but now you can.
That is true. When we go
and
That's
I
the next
believe-
section, though. I do
believe-
like that they added the part where they said a D20 test must have a target number no less than 5 and no greater than 30. It kind of gives DMs, especially newer ones, a guideline to say, hey, not everything needs a dice roll.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Although with expertise, at certain levels, you can easily hit on a die roll over 30.
And yeah, I love when that
Yeah.
happens.
but
But like, it's like, does that just mean it's like, do I automatically then succeed? Like for a new DM, I think that puts then, 30 is like the cap. Like at that point, it's like, they could get over a 30. That just means it's
Yeah, I see
So-
what you're saying.
well, we have in terms of DCs for like these checks, there are some things that are so easy we don't even bother rolling them, and there are some things that are absolutely impossible that no matter what they roll, they're never going to actually do it. 30 is just like in my head, this is nearly impossible, but there is a chance. And
Gotta
if
play
you're
rogue.
really good, fantastic. You can beat 30 regularly, and you are basically a superhuman in that field.
Yeah.
So for
That's
me,
true.
these guidelines are very helpful. It's like 5 is basically impossible to fail, but there is a chance. It's that opposite extreme. And I mean,
Also, you can officially crit on ability checks now.
well, Ryan, you did already
next
mention the rolling of a 1. That is now possible in every facet.
Yep.
My God, even saving throws.
Yeah. Saving throws.
I mean,
Yeah,
I don't
I
imagine
don't
there's.
think I would ever use these rules.
Yeah, no, I'm not about the like for skills and for saving throws. I don't think I'm about that because like some things have a 10 DC and you can have over a 10 natively as like your con save or something, and it's
Yep.
just like, but there's still that chance that you just fail. As like you've built your character for this thing. It just kind of feels like, I don't know.
I personally love the respect of the 1 and the 20.
Uh-oh.
You
Look out, gang.
can you can be very good, and I love players being very good at what they do. But the world is random. Chaos exists. Sometimes you just have a bad day. Here's the 1. I like it. It's in my mantra. It might be coming, guys. It might be being playtested.
Oh god,
Okay.
no.
But the inverse of that
Okay.
on the crits, the critical
I was gonna
attacks.
say, then let's do the critical attacks as well. Then, if that's what we're doing, I think if we're doing this, then we have to do the whole thing.
You be the DM, and then we'll do it.
Yeah. I don't respect the 1 and the 20. I respect the 1 and the 100. That's what I respect.
Of course you do.
Okay, Mr. Cthulhu.
We
there.
get it.
Outta
Yeah, we
here.
get it.
When you roll a 1, you deserve to fail when it comes to percentile. Or so you roll
Sure.
100. You deserve to fail at 100. Okay.
This is interesting. So basically, the rolling a 20 is the inverse of what we just discussed with the 1. But in addition to automatically succeeding, you also get inspiration. Which
I guess.
That's-
Yeah.
I don't mind. I often forget to give out inspiration, so let's add some mechanics where you guys can get inspiration, especially if it's now easier to lose inspiration.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
true. Yes, if it is disappearing on us, yeah.
I think coming like from a point where like I've played so much D&D that never had inspiration before playing 5th edition, that like for me inspiration was always just like an additional like fluff thing. It was like nice to have.
Yeah.
But I do like it. Just like if the game is going to be in a way where like, okay, we're gonna like make this a thing, then like make it a thing. And I think this is a good way of doing that. What I don't like is like the idea of the 20 always succeeding on a skill check. But I also don't think very often you should roll in that case. But I think there needs to like, sometimes you're rolling not to see if the character succeeds, but to see how badly they fail, because the player is like, I'm doing this thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, that's not going, like, not going to happen. But like, do you just get by and like you're not, insulting the king and queen and getting your head chopped off?
Well, it's like
Yeah, I agree.
we all, when we talk about automatic failing and automatic success, we also what we should also be talking about is degrees of failure and success, you know? It just means to roll a 1, the situation becomes worse. Is it you're in hell now? No. And automatically succeeding doesn't mean you are now overthrowing the kingdom and you're the rightful heir. No, it just means the situation has improved. Like,
I don't know.
I think in their wording they should have probably put a little disclaimer in there about, like, you know, set the circumstances before this happens.
Yeah.
And know that an automatic fail or an automatic success depends on the circumstances.
Also, just had a thought. With all the new rules about inspiration, I wonder what they're going to do to Bard, and if it's going to be able to give out inspiration, like actual inspiration.
Find out.
Right.
oh, I see what you're saying. Interesting.
That's true.
Huh.
That feels like it
could be
would fit
kinda
really well
neat.
with that music feed as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh. I have opinions about this. I'll have to tell you guys on Sunday because I can't type it all out. Oh, poor Christy. And of course, with rolling a 20, rolling a 20 doesn't bypass limitations on the test, such as range and line of sight. For example, if you're trying to jump to the moon, the 20's not going to get you to the moon. The 20 bypasses only bonuses and penalties to the roll. There are certain expectations we have to set ourselves up for, and for newer DMs out there, know that rolling a 1 doesn't have to be the end of the world for the players, and a 20 doesn't have to mean the world of success. Let's get to the controversial bit. Critical hits. Who would like to go?
Wild.
I'll do it. Weapons and unarmed strikes, asterisk, can't forget that, have a special feature for player characters. Critical hits. If a player character rolls a 20 for an attack roll with a weapon or an unarmed strike, the attack is also a critical hit, which means it does extra damage to the target. You roll a damage dice of the weapon or the unarmed strike a second time, and add the second roll as extra damage to the target. For example, a mace deals bludgeoning damage equal to 1d6 plus your strength modifier. If you roll a critical hit with the mace, it instead deals 2d6 plus your strength modifier. If the weapon or unarmed strike has no damage dice, it deals no extra damage to a critical hit. Funny thing. So, players are not dungeon masters. Dungeon masters can't crit. Also, weapons and unarmed strikes are not spells.
Well, so to slow it down, yes, it's unfortunate because the wording of this says you can only crit if you are a player and if you are using a weapon or an unarmed strike, based on the wording.
Yeah.
Insanity.
Stupid.
Especially
this whole
it's-
paragraph. Everything in this paragraph is bad.
And I could see this again, going back to like older editions and stuff. I could see this in first edition, second edition, only giving crits to players because you stop getting a lot of HP as the game goes on and stuff. But fifth edition, it is hard to make, unless it's like very, very unbalanced, it's hard to make a encounter actually challenging for like players that are past like level 10.
Yeah.
To them be like, oh, that like crit that really puts pressure on them suddenly doesn't exist. I think it like, unless they do some real changing up of monsters in some way, I just think that it'll make the combat either you're feeling you need to throw things that are like way too challenging, and then it's just kind of like, oh, we're hitting this wall, or it's like, okay, the players are going to like walk through this a little too often.
Yeah, they better have
love
like
it.
challenge rating 6 rats.
Ryan and I were talking earlier, like, we kind of get it for why they might have done away with spells getting crits, just because, you know, we want to give some more enticement to the actual martial classes.
Yeah, I like that a lot, actually.
I understand it, but I don't like it.
Yeah, I personally actually do like it. Because, for example, wizards can just shape reality. They can straight up be like, oh, I'm an illusionist? Cool, let me just make an illusion. Oh, it's real now. Cool. That's
Yeah, but I can't critically
Sure.
shape reality,
Yeah.
and it makes me
Yeah.
sad.
I'm already not critting on that. Yeah.
Well, and there's
And
no
many-
dice check is affiliated with that, though. Like, that's just a
Many
thing you can
higher
do.
level-
It just happens.
I will say, like, a lot of the higher level spells don't put opportunities to crit anyways. They're usually
That's true.
the enemy gets. You can play a wizard and a spellcaster who goes through a long combat session never rolling a die because you're just like, everyone makes a save against me. I would maybe take it away from spells, but not cantrips. I think cantrips
Okay.
I would leave. I could see the argument for spells being like, okay, you know, spells tend to do like a lot of damage compared to what martial classes do. Here's the little switch around. thinking of like a level 20 fighter versus a level like 20 wizard, what the firebolt does 4d10, but their great axe attacks, they get to do 4d10 and possibly crit like on each individual attack. And like
It feels like
Yeah.
it tips the balance too far in Marshall's favor.
I don't even know if it does. I just think as a player, I actually think mechanically, I do think this probably actually still doesn't make Marshall more powerful than spellcasters.
Yeah.
I just think as a player, this is unfun, and at the end of the day, it's a game.
Yeah.
That's true.
Critting is like so fun.
Everybody
Yeah.
gets hype for a critical hit. And what happens if when you cast Firebolt and you get the crit? Everyone's like, yay! You don't get to pull out the extra dice. You just get to go, I automatically hit and I proceed as normal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good
that's
inspiration.
Oh, thanks. I'll roll again. Now I missed.
That's fair. I take back my opinion. Crits are hype.
Or, like, I get hyped when other people crit. I want to see
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
when
That's
we're
true.
playing
You wanna
Dice League
see your
games, I
allies
love when
crit.
y'all
Yeah.
crit. And like when I run a game, I really like it when my players crit the monster because it's like usually a cool moment.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
I think the fix for Marshall characters, and I don't think they're going to go this route because what they're trying to do is, condense this thing and make it less complex, is to add additional benefits to types of weapons. And
Yes.
yeah, and I know I've seen documents somewhere of like daggers have a increased critical chance, So
Yeah, there's so many great third-party documents out there of like additional weapon properties that make
Yeah.
them cool and fun to use.
And I think that's the way to make martial classes more interesting. That's why everyone loves Battle Masters so much, because they get to do things that are just interesting. Like, it's not damage, it's tactics, it's maneuverability. That's how you fix the appeal to martial classes.
Yeah. It's also making use of all the actions,
Mhm.
reactions, bonus actions. I want my martial class to not just say I go up and attack as my main action, and
Yeah.
that's my turn.
I want some
That's it.
options.
I miss the
Also-
cleave from 4th edition. I'll just say that. I miss
Mhm.
like fighters having some abilities that were, special.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and maybe that would be like the feature that would get attached to like long swords and great axes, because they're longer weapons with greater swing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But yeah, to your point, Denny, like if they're trying to make D&D less complicated, I feel like 5th edition is pretty simple compared
Yeah.
to previous editions. So I don't really like that if they're trying to make it simpler. I don't really like that
I agree.
personally.
It's already the most popular the game's ever been. Like,
Yeah.
are you trying to, like Ryan said, are you trying to cult the world?
Yeah.
Yes, it's one.
I mean, yes, it's capitalism. They are
Yes.
definitely trying to be like, oh boy, we've gotten all the players who are willing to deal with like all the crunch. Okay, now we need to get more people.
I was hoping with this sort of new, I don't even know if it's a new edition, the new ONE D&D. I was hoping that they were going to actually make it a little bit more crunchy, because it's not very crunchy right now. I would like a little more crunch to it, a little more mechanics to it. That's all.
Maybe,
Well, nuts
maybe,
and crunch.
Yeah. I
maybe we
love
should threaten to go
optional
play
crunch.
Pathfinder.
Like, I would love crunch that, like, similar to the way that feats don't have to be used, doing things that like add a lot of things that are very much in the realm of this is if you want it, this isn't you must play with it. And in a way that there are stuff like that, but I had to, like in the campaign I'm running, I literally had to Google all the variant rules to find a concise list of them to know what they all were.
Oh yeah, because they're so spread across
They're so, yeah.
everywhere.
I'm going to share with you a resource. Maybe this will help you in the future. Like, if I have a rule that I need to find, like, I can go to this and I can just instantly find it. So I'm going to send you this, and maybe this will change your life. Or maybe
Denny,
you
can
sent it
put
to
in
me.
the Dicely Players chat.
Sure, I absolutely can.
Thanks, buddy.
That's all available
How
for
many
you.
DMs are in this chat?
You know what?
Give
That
us
is-
the stuff.
You know what?
That's
What
the
I'm
best
gonna
tool.
do? What I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna post this in the Dicely Discord general chat, And hey, anybody out there, if you haven't joined us on Discord, let me just... Yeah, I know, right? Get you a little plug to hop on our Discord.
You want fancy
Enticely.
tables, fancy resources, join the Discord.
D&D themed sex toys, we got you.
Oh, dear God, that's not what we do.
Dungeons and dildos.
Yep.
Oh god.
Danny and Ticely's Dungeons and Dildos.
Anyway, I just shared a resource called Optional Variant and Expanded Rules
What have I
5e
done?
Tools, but it'll get you basically all the rules you need.
Yep.
Okay. Well, that's critical hits. Shall we move on?
Yeah, let's please move on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Divine spells, we already talked about that. Gaming sets, these are similar to Artisan's tools. Pretty much the same thing, except for they all now cost 1 gold apiece.
Great.
Sure.
Superb.
That's cool.
Grappled condition has changed. Now you guys wouldn't know
Yeah.
this because you don't get to see
Speed to
behind the
zero
DM screen.
now.
But I've got little cards with all the conditions on them, so I've always got them referenced available.
Clever.
Your speed is 0 and it can't change. Attacks are affected. You have disadvantage on attack rolls against any target other than the attacker. Absolutely makes sense. Why wasn't that there before? Was it there before?
I don't think so.
No,
No, I don't believe
it was not
so.
there before.
Being grappled was like a nothing condition before.
Yes, it absolutely
Yeah.
was. The grappler
Yeah, it was
can
literally just
drag
speed to 0. That was it.
pretty much. The grappler can drag or carry you, but the grappler suffers the slow condition while moving. Is
It's a new one.
actually
Slowed
a
is
condition.
new.
Yeah.
It's a new condition. Yeah, it's talking
The
about you
grappler
being
suffers
You
grappled.
do not get
condition.
slowed if you are tiny or 2 or more sizes smaller than the grappler. Got it.
Yes.
Which I like. So a giant can just pick you up and take you away.
Yeah,
Be nice.
makes sense. Escape. While grappled, you can make a dexterity or strength saving throw against the grapple's escape DC at the end of each of your turns, ending the condition on yourself on a success. The condition also ends if the grappler is incapacitated or if something moves you outside the grapple's range without using your speed. There are differences, and there are also bad differences. Does anybody
what's the
immediately have
bad
any thoughts?
I mean, yeah, I don't like that you can just escape for free.
It's not that you can escape for 3. You do have to make a check.
Yes,
but you don't-
it
doesn't
doesn't
take an
cost
action.
you anything.
I
It's at
see.
the end of your turns. So it's like a
Oh.
lot of... So it becomes like being frightened and stuff.
Yeah.
Right. It really feels like a
Hmm.
condition as opposed to an
Yeah.
actual attack.
Yeah.
Which I guess puts it more in line with other conditions, which is what it is
Yeah.
But
mechanically.
it's also an attack. The other bad thing I find about this is there is an escape DC. It does not say like a contest. So
Mhm.
what does that mean? How do we determine what that grapple escape DC is? I'm sure that'll come
Good question.
at some point.
Because there's
Strength
nothing
plus
in here.
proficiency plus 8.
Furthermore, this is a dexterity or strength saving throw instead of a
Acrobatics or athletics.
Acrobatics.
Or athletics.
Yeah. So it's a saving throw instead of a check.
Yeah, which I guess is good. It stops expertise
harder.
from overcoming.
Yeah, it makes it harder to get out.
But if you were an expert, why wouldn't you be able to get out so easily?
That's also
Does being
true.
an expert acrobat mean that you can escape a grapple well, though?
Yes,
And
it technically is part of the acrobatics skill. The ability to squeeze and slip out of restraint is part of that
okay.
skill set.
Yeah.
I stand
So-
corrected.
This all comes to something that I've wanted to see changed with grapples and like the condition throughout 5th edition, because there's like some spells and abilities that kind of impose it.
Mhm.
That it's based on like that it's not always a dex or strength save, that it's based on the thing that does it. Because if you're like grappled by like
Right.
some sticky thing, then you have to strength your way out. And like in my current game, I home ruled that. I was like, sometimes it's not always going to be what you're expecting, because if an octopus grapples you, its suction cups are going to make it just a strength thing. But I would wish that they would just
Right.
mechanically introduce that, because I always just want to find ways to make dex less of this like
God
it's
stat.
just the god stat.
Yeah.
Every class needs dex.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there are good changes to this, especially in the attacking. I'm glad that's been defined. But this is the method of escape, I think, needs further examination. It's
And clarification would be nice too.
yeah, it's on a course, and I love Logan's idea. That absolutely makes sense.
we'll see like in the coming days if any sort of errata comes out for this playtest material.
Yeah.
And then maybe we could try to implement some of these in our game and see how it goes.
Would somebody like to take the incapacitated condition?
Sure. Go ahead, Anthony.
While you are incapacitated, you experience the following effects. Inactive, you can't take actions or reactions. No concentration, your concentration is broken. Speechless, you can't speak. Surprised, if you are incapacitated when you roll initiative, you have disadvantage on the roll.
You know what incapacitated had before?
You were paralyzed, right?
It was only the first of these 4 things that just listed.
Yep. Yeah.
So
I like
it's
that this got buffed.
big.
I will say, so the concentration aspect of it, though, I believe is under the This is the problem with the rulebook is
Yes.
mix and match. The concentration part is under concentration rules.
Yes.
So that has always been a thing.
Technically
That's
always there, easily forgotten because it's not very often we're looking at the concentration rules, but incapacitated as a condition is often referred to. So you're right. But like at this card, for example, only the single line under incapacitated.
I still don't know why you can still move, though.
Also, like, incapacitated is a condition that's typically applied, like, hold person, which kind of, like, already stops you from
Yeah.
moving, you know?
That specifies
Yeah.
paralysis, though.
Yeah.
And if you look at like a list of actions in the game, moving is not on there. Dash is on there, which gives you extra movement.
That is interesting.
Some weird wordy stuff happening here, wizards.
Yeah, although paralyzed grants you incapacitated. Like, if you're paralyzed, you are incapacitated, right?
Yeah, but paralyzed specifies no movement, right?
No. Oh, wait, yes, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah,
What
you
does that
can't
mean?
move or speak.
Sick.
Interesting.
Because to me, it
I
just
mean-
doesn't make sense that you can move while being incapacitated.
I agree.
I also agree. But I started looking up like the internet and people are like, yeah, technically you can move. It's not listed.
In the wording of this, they also got rid of bonus actions amongst that sentence. You can't take actions or reactions, but it is also in the rules that say if something prevents you from taking actions, you can also not take bonus actions. So just to clarify that as well. What sort of
Yes.
things cause the incapacitated condition? Usually
Whole person.
it's spells usually that, or spells or effects that usually
Drax
hinder
breath weapon.
movement, knock people out. Yeah, it's usually attached to a series of conditions, usually with some sort of spell or effect.
I do wonder if everything that has incapacitated also, though, has things that are
Movement preventing.
movement preventative. And this is just a weird, like, this thing makes sense from a game design perspective to have it worded like this, because it's like 2 separate things, but it always
Yeah.
comes paired with something else.
Yeah, that's true. There are a lot of things that say you are also incapacitated in addition to the following. Maybe just incapacitated means you're just a babbling fool for a little bit.
Yeah.
Shall
Except
we?
you can't speak, so you can't even babble. So what's the point?
Well, shall we talk about the other really changed thing? Inspiration.
When you have inspiration, you can expend it to give yourself advantage on a d20 test. You must decide to do so before rolling the dice.
Oh.
Gaining inspiration.
Oh,
You
true.
can-
Yeah, that's a good point, Dallas. That is new.
Oh.
You have to decide first. So you
Oh,
can't
wait,
fail
what?
first.
That's not how I have played that before.
Ah, yes. What?
You must
You
decide
have to decide.
before rolling the die. Like normally, right now, you would roll and you'd be like, I'm gonna use my inspiration to re-roll that. That's new.
It's true.
I wonder,
And furthermore,
is it new or have we just been playing with it wrong?
It's
I'm
also
like,
possible that we play wrong.
like I
Yes.
just now I'm like I need to look this up.
I think that actually
No, I
has
don't
always
want to
been the
know if we
case,
played it
but
wrong.
wrong. I bet you we've all just been playing wrong. Oh well.
I mean, whatever. It's our game.
Yeah, I do think I did just find it, and it's when you make an roll saving throw or ability check, spending your inspiration gives you advantage on that roll. It doesn't. I don't think it actually specifies right now that you have to use it before.
So we're perfect to make no mistakes.
We're
Let's carry on.
good.
Yes, we're perfect. We make 0 mistakes. We're the bomb
We
diggity.
will proceed as normal.
I'm ignoring what Christy's saying in the chat.
reconsider it, Daddy. Yes.
Gaining inspiration. The main way a character
Christy,
gains
stop.
inspiration is by rolling a 20 for a d20 chest. The DM can also award inspiration to a character who's done something that is particularly heroic or amusing.
There you go, guys. I'm not rewarding good roleplay anymore. Just being heroic or
Damn it.
amusing.
Unless you're a
Oh,
human,
make
baby, in which
jokes.
case you just have it because you slept well.
Yeah, Daddy, you have to start forcing like long rest conditions so that Gideon can't have inspiration all the time. It's only if he sleeps well that he gets it.
I slept 6 hours, baby, and I lightly read something for 2. Boy, do I
But
have
you did it
inspiration.
outside, so no inspiration.
Yeah, 0 roleplay was done. Inspiration. Hell yeah. Only one at a time. You can never have more than one instance of inspiration. If something gives you inspiration, you already have it. You can give inspiration to a player character in your group who lacks it. I
Yep.
love that.
That is
I
how
do as
we're
well.
already doing it, so that works.
What?
Well, no, not like if you have it, you can, like if somebody has it and
For example,
nobody gains it, you can give yours. But it's like if you already have it.
Ryan, I'm going to give you inspiration. Do you already have it?
Yes, I do.
All right. So anybody in the party don't have inspiration?
I need.
All right, Dallas, you can have it instead.
Nice.
Yes, that's new. I like that a lot. That's fun. Like the fact that you can earn a token for the group. That's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, that's
Um,
cool.
It's more. It's like everybody's RP moments can help the whole team now instead of just helping
Yeah.
yourself.
However,
And also, like,
Yeah.
if you have an inspiration, there's still incentive to continue to be present and trying to initiate good moments at the table because you
Yeah.
might help someone
Mhm.
else.
Mm-hmm.
also, these rules get rid of the option as a player to give your inspiration to somebody else. Like,
Yes,
this is
that
the
makes me
only way
sad.
to pass or to kind of reflect it.
Yeah.
Mm,
So you have to keep being a good role player to keep getting that inspiration for other people.
Yeah.
right.
Although
That's what
I
you're
do
saying.
I do like being able to give inspiration to somebody as a player. Whether it be
Has
when
How
I earn it
often
or
do
when
we
I
do
I don't think
that?
I never
anybody
do it.
in our party has ever
Yeah.
done it.
I've asked,
No.
but everybody already had it.
Okay, fair
Yeah.
enough.
I've definitely asked.
I do give it
That
out a
is-
lot.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
guys
I've
are
done
so
it
good.
several times in various games.
All right. And then
I roll
finally,
shit.
if you have inspiration when you start a long rest, you lose it.
Rip.
Wild.
Oh, it's when you
Bam,
bam,
start a
bam.
long rest.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, no.
Yay!
So
Night
you
attacks.
never have it. Yeah, I
Yeah.
was gonna say the sneak attacks
Yay.
at night are brutal.
Yeah, you never get them at night.
Ooh.
All right, cool.
You're going to
So, we're screwed.
Yay!
I like I
Just
do
roll
like the
some 20s.
losing it though. I think it like keeps
Yeah.
from just like
It makes you want to
hoarding
use
it.
it. Yeah.
it makes you
Yes.
have to use it. You're no longer saving it for that amazing moment. You're kind of just
Mhm.
like, I'm going to use it now so I don't waste it, and maybe I'll
Cook
get
checks.
more. And
Yeah. Cook
Or maybe
checks,
I'm
yeah.
human.
yeah,
Hey.
I love how much we're ragging on this. It's
Yeah,
so
I-
fun.
I actually really like it as a human feature. Like,
I do
Uh-huh.
too.
fuck it.
But
Here's
hey,
your
it's
reward
cool
for
as a human
being
feature.
boring.
let me tell you something. I'm not boring.
yeah.
It's what a boring
Yeah.
person would say.
I'm inspired.
I'm inspired. Oh gosh.
Okay. Sure.
Whew. All right. Shall we move on to long rest?
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry. Did you sleep well last night? I don't think so. Stupid no sleep, 4 hours of reading, looking ass. Tell you.
We are so close to the end of this document.
Okay, yes, please.
Sorry.
It's all right. Long
Yeah,
rest.
long rest. Nothing has changed.
Really? Yep. 6
far as I can
hours at
tell.
least. Need 2 hours of light activity if you don't sleep for the other 2. Regain all lost hit points. Regain spent hit dice up to half the creature's total. Yep, so that's the same. Get benefit from more than one long rest in a 24-hour period, and the creature must have 1 hit point at the start of the rest to gain its benefits. That's probably always been the case, and I've just never paid attention because that makes sense.
The text underneath is, I think, the same as it is now, where if you spend at least an hour before being interrupted, you still get a short rest.
Yeah, I think that's always been that way. I just didn't know that.
Yeah, I don't know if that's how it's always been,
I
but
feel like
I
this
like
is,
this.
I Interesting. If a long rest is interrupted by combat or 1 hour of walking, casting spells, or similar activity, the rest confers no benefit and must be restarted. However, if there was at least 1 hour, the rest was at least 1 hour long before the interruption. Creature gains the benefits of a short rest.
That's not how we've played.
Yeah.
No.
So, I like this.
It makes
I think
sense.
it means
I feel like we've asked and we've been like, hey, can we get at least a short rest? And then we would have been like, yeah, that's fine.
No, I just
feel
say
like
you
We
finish
normally
your
just
long
do
rest.
a long rest.
yeah. We usually I feel it's just the long rest gets finished and it's just later. I like this because I like this.
This is great if you get attacked at night. Like if you have a really bad day, and then if you get attacked at night, it's like, well, we'll get the
Carries
benefits
over
of
to
the
the
short
next
rest.
day.
Yep.
It's like you get a bit, but like maybe your next day isn't just going out continuing adventuring. Maybe you're going to play it a little safer or something.
It's definitely something I would have to keep my mind on and remember that is a big change from the way I've been running things. But yeah, I get why, and I do like it. But it's another thing for me to think about.
I feel like I've already done this before. I think that's why it feels like it's always been a thing to me. It's because this is just what I've always done, and I've never seen it in writing until this moment.
Yeah,
Hmm.
that's kind of how I feel as well.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever actually run it like this. So yeah, if you've been doing it on your end, kudos to you, Anthony.
Aha!
Just like Christy hasn't been only restoring half of her total hit dice and instead restoring all of them on a long rest.
Yeah.
Wait,
no,
what?
Ooh. I've been like kind of in this, like I've been doing it, but not because I knew it. You know what I mean? Like it was one of those things where I'd say, yeah, your long rest is interrupted, but they're like, well, we rested like 3 hours, and like, yeah, it's like, well, it's short rest, right? I'm like, yeah.
Well, I just kind of assumed like, you get like 2 hours, say, and then combat happens for some reason, and then you guys go back to bed and you sleep for 6 hours because you go and get your 8.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so.
Not a worry.
Yo, I just saw something coming up that I'm gonna have to comment on, but we'll get there.
Well,
Yeah, we'll get there.
musical instrument. Same
It's
thing with
the same, but
tools and
everything's-
gaming pieces.
Yeah.
They have a set price at 20 gold pieces now.
But ignore those prices, 20 gold.
More expensive than tools.
Jays.
I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, they. Let me tell you, as a musician, they are more expensive than tools.
Yeah,
Some
yeah.
tools. Some
I was gonna say, as someone who buys both those things,
tools. Some tools. Slowed condition. Because we're skipping primal spells.
This is what I'm gonna have to comment on.
Go ahead.
All right. While you're slowed, you experience the following effects. Limited movement. You must spend 1 extra foot of movement for every foot you move using your speed. So, sorry, I read that wrong. Never mind, I don't have to comment. We're good. Yeah, double movement. Cool. We hate that. Anyways, extra attack rolls against you have advantage. That's new. I love that. You have disadvantage on dexterity saving throws. Also
That
good.
all makes sense.
Yeah, this makes sense, and I
sense.
like it.
Sorry, my
I like it.
brain.
What did your brain do?
My brain read you must move 1 extra foot of movement for every like box, so like it's like 5 feet you move. So it's like, so I move 6 feet.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
So I gotta spend
That's
6
sort of
now.
movement.
That feels worded so weird. How is that currently worded? When
it's
you're-
not in condition right now. It's new.
Right.
I mean,
but
a
like
lot
if you're
of
moving through difficult terrain, like that is the
these movement issues are
Half
worded
movement.
like this. I don't exactly know why, but usually they'll, instead of saying like you move half your movement, they'll say you must spend 1 extra foot of movement for every foot you move.
sure.
Yeah.
I guess it makes sense if you start out of difficult terrain and then you move into it. I guess I can see, yeah.
It's also
Oh, this is a
so
little bit
while
clearer.
most people use a grid, not everyone does. Some people who played
Right.
again coming from wargaming backgrounds just use tape measures and stuff. So while we always move in 5 foot increments, they can move 3 feet because they'll measure it out and stuff.
Are people playing D&D like that?
Yes.
There's
Um,
lots of people.
I
Fuck
think
'em.
I think
Just
one of the, no, but I think one of the like a YouTuber. I think it's like one of the dungeon, like his home game like that, and he showed his table at like one episode, and it's like, yeah, it's just like a wargaming table that he sets up. There's no grid because it's all terrain pieces and stuff, so
Mm.
you got to measure it out a bit.
Fair enough. That does blow my mind.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like this condition.
Yeah.
I've been trying to like homebrew something like this for a while, so having it laid out in such a nice way actually makes a lot of sense.
I feel like what I want is more specificity in the charm condition.
Yes,
Yeah.
me too.
It's
I would like that.
so esoteric.
Yeah. I have seen that run so many different ways.
And
Yeah.
well, it's so crazy too, because it's like any creature that can charm you, it's like, my charm's a little bit different.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's
As
like
we just
what?
learned with the Beholder charm in my game.
I'm very familiar.
Yep.
So anyway, tool proficiencies.
Yeah. Tools.
If you have proficiency with the tool, you can add your proficiency bonus to any ability check you make that uses that tool. If you have proficiency in the skill that's also used with that check, you have advantage on this check too. Interesting.
Ooh.
This functionality means you can benefit from both skill proficiency and tool proficiency on the same ability check.
Oh, because yes, advantage is usually what, +5? Is the over/under on that?
Right.
I think you're
Plus
right,
5
yeah.
is equivalent
Different.
to advantage. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that a lot, actually.
I agree. I'm glad they added that.
Make tools more useful.
It's really interesting because I think thieves' tools now become amazing.
Oh yeah.
All the other
true.
tools, though, that are never used, those few times they're used, like you're just not worried that like one time you're going to use your carpentry tools, it's going to be like, oh, that sucked.
Yeah.
Big
Failed to
buff.
build a
creative
chair.
with it.
Oh no.
Big buff for artificers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Holy crap.
Drac, do you want
I'll
to cover
talk
Tremor
about-
Sense since you have the
Drac
gloves?
would love to. A creature with tremor sense can pinpoint the location of creatures and moving objects within a specific range, provided that the creature with tremor sense and anything it's detecting are both in contact with the same surface, such as the ground, a wall, or a ceiling, or the same liquid. Tremor sense can't detect creatures or objects in the air, and tremor sense doesn't count as a form of sight.
I have
Ooh.
suddenly realized that I want an audiobook narrated by Drac.
Oh,
That was just very ASMR.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm glad.
I have a question. Has
Yeah.
tremor sense always not counted as a form of sight?
That
I don't
is a
know.
good question.
Because this actually, if it hasn't, this is a really neat change. Not that I think a lot of players are getting tremor sense and stuff, but it does mean that you can't cast a lot of spells if all you can see the creature with is tremor sense.
Oh,
Yep.
true.
You do not have line of sight, which is required for almost every spell.
That's huge.
But you can use it to find where someone is on like the other side of a wall and cast a spell with like an area of effect on there.
Yeah.
Because you can just drop it in a place. You're like, okay, that's going there.
Yeah, like your fireballs and stuff are still fine, but technically with that firebolt is not possible to hit.
Yeah.
Right, it's like if a creature you can see.
Yeah.
So it looks like this was never spelled out. And so this probably became something that DMs encountered and didn't have an answer for. So now we have the answer.
Great. Love that.
That makes sense.
I mean, really, it's useful for finding, invisible things and things under the ground.
Yeah.
And on the other side of walls. So,
Super useful for like martial attackers and stuff. So
Oh, yeah.
like me.
Who would like unarmed strikes?
I can do it.
Come here then. Bah!
Unarmed strike. Pow pow pow. That's it. That's actually all it says. Pow pow pow.
Yeah. I'm reading all these letters, and that's what it translates to.
Big buff to the monk. They automatically get 3 attacks.
Pow, pow, pow.
An unarmed strike is a melee attack that involves you using your body to damage, grapple, or shove a target within your reach. Your bonus to hit with an unarmed strike equals your strength modifier plus your proficiency bonus. On a hit, your unarmed strike causes one of the following effects of your choice. Damage, the target takes bludgeoning damage equal to 1 plus your strength mod. Grapple, target is grappled, and your grapple escape. Okay, so getting back to the grapple thing.
Okay,
Yeah.
Here is your DC, or is 8 plus your strength mod plus your proficiency bonus.
Okay,
So
right.
same as
Ryan, yeah.
same as most spellcaster saving throws.
Uh-huh.
This grapple is possible only if the target is no more than 1 size larger than you, and if you have a hand free to grapple the target. So you only need one arm to grapple things.
Yep.
Shove. Either push the target 5 feet away or knock the target prone. This shove is possible, similarly, only if they're no more than one size larger than you.
I have
This
a
is
question.
busted.
So
Do you just get to push them? There's no
Busted.
check.
You have to.
no, it's
You have
following
to make
a
an
hit.
attack.
Yeah, following an attack roll. You can then do
Yeah, you
one
just
of
have to
these
hit,
things.
though.
That's
Yeah.
currently the rules. There's currently a shove
Well, wait a
alternate
minute.
attack.
I thought these
But
were all
that's
just on a hit die?
contests before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe not the shove. The shove, actually, I,
don't
think you're
the
right.
shove. I don't think the shove was.
The grapple,
What?
definitely, though.
But the grapple.
Of
Yeah, I guess the grapple is worded.
it is a
that-
contest
Nope.
currently.
Yep, shove is a contest.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Well, hang
You
on
know
a
what?
minute then.
Hey, these are good. I like these actually because
I
martial
agree.
classes need more things to do.
They do.
Yeah.
Although a lot of these benefits were part of Tavern Brawler.
Yeah.
True. I guess they
The
moved it
tavern
over.
brawler gets to deal damage and do this.
And yeah.
True, yeah.
This is
Yes.
except for the damage, you do this thing. But I mean,
So this
I just
Okay.
this is really useful for marshals for sure. Because then you can shove with like your first attack, and then second attack. If you knock them prone, you have advantage.
and it doesn't specify you have to like, declare the thing first. So if you're like, I got the crit, then you can be like, I'm just going to take the hit still, not do the shove. So
It just says on a hit.
Yeah. On
Your
a hit,
strike
then
does
you
one,
decide what.
This is an insane buff to monks.
Yep.
Yeah.
You just topple
Yeah.
everyone prone. You just push like 5 people prone.
Hey man, in like I don't know, 5-6 levels, when I finally get to level 5 monk, I'll do it.
Yeah.
You know, I am tempted to start trying this one.
You can't see me,
I mean-
but I'm rubbing my hands together and licking my lips. And somewhere up in distance, Adam is too.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, yeah, in a party where like we only have 2 like primary martial foes.
Yeah.
And the
I
fact
think this.
that we've had grapple situations already, I think this would be primed to test out because it might happen again.
Although, something to be wary of, a creature that is prone and grappled can literally do nothing.
But
They can attack the person who's grappling them.
That's
Yeah.
basically it. Yeah.
That's it. Which is, I mean,
And
currently
they can
still
still
the
cast
same.
spells and everything.
they can
So-
dex save to
Yep.
get out of there.
And they
'Cause these
get
are-
to at the end of every turn.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's no longer their action.
So it is
Yeah.
Which
easy
is-
to grapple, but it's also easier to escape.
hmm
Yeah.
So it balances out.
Yeah. I think if we try this, we got to do the whole kit and caboodle.
I
Absolutely.
think so.
I'm just picturing Gideon with his 8 strength pushing over somebody much larger than him because it doesn't say anything about size.
I know.
You
that's
just
what I was
happen to
looking at
hit.
too.
Does have to be an unarmed strike, though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So you
but
have
still,
to be
I-
able to
Gideon knocks a giant prone with his unarmed strike.
I
you
mean,
get
you can
that
flavor
20.
it. You hit him with the butt of your gun or something.
The shove is possible only if the target is no more than one size larger than you.
Oh, okay, cool. Whatever. I can still push
Also-
over it. Cool.
That key of an unarmed strike, I would at least as a DM rule that you have to declare that at the start of it. So very big benefit to monks who always do this. It does mean that as like Abe, who is making attacks with axes, and if I were ruling
Yes.
it, I'd be like, you'd have to say that you were doing the
Yeah. I'm not going to
unarmed
let you
strike first. Yeah.
I'm not going to let you attack with an axe and then go I'm going to grapple instead.
Strike. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Drak can,
'Cause-
can
well, also,
you
it's
choose
in-
when the crit happens.
But also it's super important too because there's certain different attack bonuses and proficiencies with unarmed strikes and certain weapons, so and also
Yeah.
magical attack bonuses, so this would be incredibly important to keep track of.
Mm-hmm. So for like someone like Abe, who is not presumably proficient with their body in terms of attacking, it would just be like
Well-
D20 plus strength.
I mean,
Right.
in the rules here, your bonus to hit with an unarmed strike equals your strength modifier plus your proficiency bonus. So that's always applying
okay.
regardless.
Interesting. So so everyone's proficient with an unarmed strike then.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
But you monks are only proficient, or are the only ones who are proficient with a dex-based unarmed strike with proficiency.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
I am intrigued, and I am going to implement unarmed strikes of this playtest.
Oh my.
You heard it here first, folks.
You got the deets.
You got the receipts, the video evidence.
I will punch slightly better than I already do.
You will punch and topple people over without spending key points.
That
I
will
have
suck.
to spend-
I will say that will suck for all the range people trying to attack that person, though, because we'll
Yeah.
have disadvantage.
That's
Oh
true.
yeah, but we got Abe and Nell who can crit people who are prone
So
now.
I'll- I'll knock them over without spending a key point, but then I'll have to spend a key point so that I can punch them after.
Yeah.
Quickly, we'll just move on to spell lists here. There are now 3 main spell lists in the game: Arcane, Divine, and Primal. In future Unearthed Arcana articles, we'll show how classes use these lists and how a class or subclass might gain spells from another list. The lists here go through first level to support some of the races and feats in this document. The lists currently include spells only from the 2014 Player's Handbook. And these are spells. So
There they are.
that officially brings us to the end of the document with these spells organized by Arcane, Divine, and Primal magical sources of magic.
We did it.
Christy,
pretty much.
maybe Abe and I can come up with a combo move. He knocks the promo and I can try and crit.
That's fun.
Ooh,
Crit fishing.
yike.
I think it's really, really good for the martial folks in the group.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
There's
I
also
think.
what's combos we can do.
Oh boy, that is the ONE D&D Unearthed Arcana rule set for character building and some changes to the original rules. What's everybody's opinion so far on this? Like, are you looking forward to this new possible change? Is there anything you really like from this rule set?
ONE D&D.
We need
The
like
name.
the Law and Order sound in the background. Of
Oh.
Dun, 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 dun. I
I
like
think
that
the
everyone
feats for
gets
everyone
it.
is really fun.
I agree.
Part of me is like with because I wasn't here when we talked about races. I was just in the chat with the whole shift of like these races that are kind of all encompassing of things like this. Any anthropomorphic animal person race. I'm almost just like, instead of having these set races similar to the backgrounds, I think like there should be like all, and I realize this would make things more complicated for them, but just like, you know, traits that you pick from and you get some certain things and you create a thing because as someone who's like, ooh, maybe I want to play like a Kenku next, the winged, Ardling makes sense. But if I was like, I want to be a Tabaxi, I was like, that one feature seems weird. And there's a few points where it's like, if they're going to homogenize things, why not just be like, cool, players, we're going to give you a lot of freedom here. Here's some suggested race ideas, like the suggested dwarf. But if you're like, I want to be water dwarf, here's, tools to create that.
Might as well use Arcanist Press. Ancestries and Culture.
And maybe it is just, I've been spoiled by like so much fan material at this point that allows for that customization.
Mhm.
But in a thing where like we've moved to, especially seeing I love backgrounds. I love this idea of create your background. Here's some ideas, tweak them if you need, but also just create one. I'm kind of feeling that now with the way that like races are. Some of these features I don't really like. The dwarf one that you were talking about. Like, I'm like, I don't really like that. I want something else there.
And I think that was something I admired in like Pathfinder when I played first edition. I think there was the character was Undyne, which is essentially the equivalent of Tritons in D&D, where you had like your special features and whatnot for the race, but then there were other ones where it was like they have a certain like point value and you could swap out and put things in the place of and make it different from its base, but also make it still feel like it's a member of that race, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, things that just customizability. I think that's what I'm looking for. I'm worried this might take things a bit too simple, but I do like some of these rules.
Mm-hmm.
I like that they clarified a lot of things in this, and that it's easier to understand a certain amount of rules that were otherwise kind of vague. Otherwise, yeah, I think it just needs some eyes of the community on it for a bit, and it'll come out as polished as we hope it can be.
Well, I don't have much else to add to that. It was well put.
Dallas, any closing thoughts?
I already said I like the feats, and I think it's
Amazing.
weird that the backgrounds get languages.
That
I
is
think it's
so
fine
funny.
that your personal background gets languages, and I get why they wrote languages in there, because I think it would be like, choose a language on each and every single one would just get like annoying from a reading perspective. But I do think it's funny that all guards are
Pick two
dwarves.
languages.
Yeah. Also, I do have to say, the languages is fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh, what's that? You swindled one person? Boom, you know Infernal. Let's go.
This was a lot of fun. Thank you guys for hopping in the chat. But yeah, I mean, you almost got the whole crew here. Sorry we missed Christy in the chat and Adam, who is busy with life things. But I think with that, we're probably going to call it a stream here. So everybody out there, let us know. I'm probably going to upload this to the Dicely D&D YouTube channel, so let us know in the comments your thoughts on this edition. Everybody's talking about it because we're all going to go crazy. It's a lot of rules. And yeah, so until next time, may you always play Dicely. Have a good night, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.